Episode 1, guys. Are you excited? Guys
Episode one.
excited?
Even more stuff than episode 0.
What was last week? Episode 0? Is that what
Last week was episode 0. Yeah. I'm gonna play some music. Intro music. You know, the first part of our episode last time is so funny. I was actually laughing so hard listening to us talk. It was not bad. So I'm actually so motivated for this week's episode. But if you guys are ready, I got Bonafide Bars playing. Podcast episode 1 getting started. And we're gonna transition into the...
We have 5 people watching already? What the fuck?
No way, really?
Huh? There's no way.
No way.
5.
I mean, yes,
No
but these
way.
are probably all bots, right?
Welcome bots to the Coming of Age podcast. Did I change?
Bots are real now, right? Because AI is so advanced.
Let me make sure the settings are on the right game. It might be on the wrong. What game does it say we're playing? Are we playing Civ? We're just chatting. Oh man, we did it.
But it still says episode 0.
Oh, it still says episode 0. Let me change it. Let me fix this. No problem, boys. No problem.
Hey yo.
Hey yo.
Yeah. Tigas definitely means having fun.
It means having fun. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of fun?
The funnest of fun. Edit stream info. Episode uno. This is a pretty good song. I don't want to exit this now.
Just fucking jamming out. 6?
Jamming
Holy
out.
shit.
Oh my
What are
god,
you
we
doing?
got 6 viewers. It's happening, guys. It's happening.
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
It's actually me tuning in with my all 6 devices.
All 6 devices. Thanks.
You have 6 different Twitch accounts? Damn.
We're here. Oh my goodness. We're here, guys. Do you see us? I see me and see all of us. Hey! What's up, guys? Welcome to the Coming of Age podcast, the show where we
down
pretend to
to
talk
3
about
viewers.
things.
Sorry.
Oh, we're down to 3. Oh, it's over.
It's our faces.
It just cut off. Well, anyway, guys, I'm gonna start with the
All
intro.
the dogs are like fucking talking dogs, bruh.
Welcome to the Coming of Age podcast, the show where we pretend to talk about something like adults. Here we explore the intersection of adulthood and our passion for gaming. I'm your host, Kyle. I guess I'm and let's see, joined by my co-hosts, Miguel and Jason, 3 guys in our late 20s / early 30s who have grown up alongside our love of gaming. We've experienced the highs and lows of being gamers while also navigating the challenges of maturing in life. Each episode will share our personal stories and insights on how gaming has shaped us both positively and negatively, and how we've had to adapt to becoming more responsible adults. So grab your controllers and join us on this journey of self-reflection and growth with a sprinkle of gaming. Thank you, ChatGPT. Alrighty.
Wait. You definitely said
GPT.
cod cast to start this off, right?
I said codcast. Oh, it's podcast.
No, we're playing COD, right?
Oh no.
Following it now?
We're supposed
You
to
can
be
edit
chill.
that. Kyle-
We're I'm gonna add a
He
p.
can do everything.
I'll put a p.
Yeah, he can edit that.
I'll just add a p in that part of the podcast. Alrighty, guys. So we are gonna get started, and I'm just gonna chat a bit about our topics for this episode. We usually just start up with catching up. Jason's exciting life through his schooling. Miguel's super exciting life with his unbelievably helpful coworkers. And
Oh god, help us all.
and my extremely boring, redundant life here. I'm seeing. But we
I
start
really
off.
want you to say that, and then one of the cats jump in your head.
Fortunately, right now, they're at the kitchen just watching Esso make food, so they're more interested with her than me, which is
Priorities.
yeah, true priorities. And then we're gonna start with another fun fact thing that I've got set up for you guys, and then we're gonna go through some main discussion topics. We're gonna talk about things like how we feel about ourselves. Are we self-conscious about things in life? Maybe some games that you can introduce to a loved one or, a grill that you meet in your life. We're going to talk about some of our work culture, maybe jump over to one of our favorite games and talk a little bit about the industry and some things people may assume about it that are true and or false. But yeah, we can get ahead and get started with just some updates for the fellas here. Does anyone want to get started, or should I jump in on this one?
You can
You
do
can
it
start
first.
off, man.
Can I go first? Okay. I just came back from an awesome trip to Mexico for work.
Right.
So a little background for some people. I work in the kind of medical device industry, and I'm helping transfer some manufacturing lines to Mexico to save my corporate overlords more money. None of that will show up in my paycheck, but that's another story. No. Anyway.
Oh man.
So this trip was interesting.
Too real.
Too real. But take a step back there. But this is a very interesting trip because I was traveling with a few coworkers on this one. And Mexico is a very, let's say, meat-heavy country. And there are a lot of different types of food that you can enjoy. And that's one of my favorite things to enjoy when I go down to Mexico, because they have such a variety of cuisines. So the place where I go to in Mexico is near the border. It's a very desert area. And the food there is a lot of like beef, pork, and surprisingly, they have a slew of Chinese food that makes them very popular. But in this trip, I traveled with a coworker who has dietary restrictions due to religious reasons. So I could not experience that food. So that was very limiting, very painful, and not so great. So we went to, yeah, we do, because we can't like ditch each other, and I feel bad just leaving them alone. It was their first time traveling in the country, so I wanted to be around and try to show them as much as possible, show them around as much as possible, but we did have to stick to their dietary restrictions. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was one of the people that we had gone with on this trip was like very limited, and I'd say their cultural exposure to, I'd say, other countries, particularly Mexico. So I'll start with the Chinese restaurant debacle. That's what I call it. Is when we went there. So we go to a Chinese restaurant, and it's like the hardest thing because they don't really speak English. So the waiter comes to our table, and the first thing one of my coworkers does is he says, "English only." Like he just screams in their face, like "English only," and the guy's like shocked. Okay, like first of all, you're in Mexico. Like, no, they're not here to cater to you. Okay. And so there's this whole debacle of like, okay, trying to figure out what we want to eat. And they have to pretty much lay out all their dietary restrictions. Fortunately, we pulled out our Translate app, but it's still hard to translate. I cannot eat these certain foods because of this like religious limitation in this case. And so we're going through this whole debacle, and this whole time my coworker is like looking frustrated and mad at the guy. And in my head, I'm like, he's not here to cater to you. Okay? You need to like be open-minded that this guy doesn't like understand like what your limitations are. And then from there, like this place is known for like Chinese food. I swear we were limited to probably the worst items on the menu. And then I can't say that the Chinese food is bad in this place, but from my experience at the moment, it was not great. So, but maybe it was because of the limitations, but I won't blame them for that. And then moving on to our next experience.
What did you even end up eating? Sorry, what did you even?
It was like I think we just had like shrimp with like breaded crust on it, like not even really like Chinese food.
Yeah.
And then we had to have like vegetable chow mein, and I was thinking in the back of my head like, there are chefs in the back. I'm like, this is like the hardest thing to make. We have to split this chow mein from all the meat that we prepared. And like, it was just very stale chow mein. And then I think they got like coconut shrimp. And I was like, okay, I would say this is not authentic. And I feel like this is just a cater.
Oh man.
But yeah, from my perspective, I was like, this is awful. And we had to like split it 3 ways, and it cost a lot. And I'm like, man, okay. And so moving on to the next story, right after we decided to go to a Walmart, right? And these guys are nice. They wanted to buy some presents for their kids, but I think the only store they were really comfortable going to was the Walmart nearby. So they go to the Walmart. They shop around for like 30 minutes to find like their kids some gifts. And then they decide to do self-checkout, right? Well, you're in Mexico. What language is the self-checkout machine in? Spanish, obviously. But it was so intimidating for them. They get to it and they like don't know what buttons to press. So they just start pressing all the buttons, like freaking out. And then they go to call the attendant over and they're like, English only, help. Like they're doing all this stuff. And I was kind of, I honestly maybe could have helped more because like I took basic Spanish in high school. I could have, I bought something too. But it was very quick for me because I knew what to press and I could read some of the items. So I was in and out in like 10 seconds. But I kind of just let them do it. and so they were there for like maybe
in the background of the camera.
5-10 minutes, like freaking out, getting frustrated with the machine. And then they call over like this lady and they start to like not yelling at her, but like raising their voice at her, like saying, change this to English, help us do this. And this, like, I'm sure this like minimum wage lady who doesn't speak English just looks at them and then she just shrugs her shoulders and walks away. And the employee just like did not care. And then finally one of my coworkers does end up paying for everything and he like lifts his arms in like triumph. He's like, yes, in like a really loud voice. And I'm like, people probably think he's wasted right now. He goes out and we leave the store.
Honestly, it might have been more fun.
Yeah. And then the last thing that really stuck out during the trip was on our way out of the country. We're driving and there's traffic. It's like pretty bad. You have to wait maybe an hour and a half at the border. That's actually pretty good. Usually it takes people 2 to 3 hours to get out. But there was one lady that came over and she is like working for the government there and she was doing an interview. And so one of my coworkers, of course, he's not having the greatest experience because obviously Mexico is not catering to his language limitation at the moment. And so the lady comes up to us in the car and she asks, the first question she asks is, how many times have you been to Mexicali? And his response was, this is the first time and hopefully the last time. And then he like rolls up the window.
Oh my god!
And he didn't roll it up all the way, but because she had some more questions, he was assuming like that was the last question, and then he just kind of rolled up the window.
First question was the last question.
I was like, oh my god, you don't have to be this rude. But the takeaway from this trip is, it's like the world perspective these people have is shockingly so limited. Like when you, or at least the cultural divide between their culture and like Mexicali and just in general is so different. Because I would think naturally that you're going into a new country, they're not there to cater to you. You're there to be respectful to their culture and try to embrace it and try to learn from it. But from their perspective, I swear all the conversations that they were having on the side is like, why is this not English? Why? Where obviously there are American companies coming here. Why aren't they putting more English signs up? Or why aren't there all the people speaking English? And like, first of all, I'm like, dude, it's a Walmart. Like it's just a Walmart. Okay. They're not hiring top tier English speakers there. Okay. They're all the hotels or the resort or something. But like, yeah, it's shocking that is a thing, that they just expect them to be catered to you. So I'm just like, there's just such a big cultural difference that it was eye-opening to me, is what I want to say from that trip. I just thought people would be all nice and stuff, but they were just not having it. and it's
That's
very
crazy, dude.
crazy entitled feeling. But yeah, that was my Mexicali adventure. Hopefully, I can go back and eat real food. But
Yeah.
after that,
Wait. Hold on. Before we move on, I have a couple questions for you, Kyle.
Yeah.
Do you get along with these coworkers at work?
So one of them I had met for the first time, and the other one,
Great first impression.
yeah, I know exactly. Great first impression. The other one is someone that I did work with, and at work, he's a very helpful person. Like he's not like judgmental or anything at all at work. I was actually quite shocked when he was kind of displaying these views, but I think it was because the other person was there. So the coworker that I did know is a little bit, he's more reserved. I think he is more respectful. But because the other coworker was there and they're from a similar cultural background, the other guy just kind of maybe pushed it out more. He piled it on more. So yeah, it's not all like bad. And I think at work, normally the other person, the one that I do know, is good. But yeah, it was just shocking that this this other person just.
Are you not worried about them ever listening to this podcast, Kyle?
I don't think so. Not yet. No,
Okay,
we'll be loaded by then. By the time they get to,
that's true. Yeah, it won't matter. It's just two voices. Who cares?
I'm not sharing this this to people.
Yeah. What are their names again, Kyle? Let me find them on Facebook.
Oh yeah, it's
No, you gotta find them on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn.
Yeah, find them on LinkedIn. You're right. Yeah.
On a side note, LinkedIn lunatics on Reddit is really funny. You guys should check out that subreddit. It's crazy the stuff I see on there. It's like people are like stuff like I had one of my former employees who I had to lay off ask if he could work for free. That's his dedication. I'm like, what?
What?
No.
What?
No. So
is that dedication, or is he trying to screw him over since he's no longer being paid?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's a funny subreddit to explore if you want to see.
Your story actually kind of reminded me of Reddit. Just like,
right? It's like
how everyone assumes every story is from the US.
Did
you ever do that? You're reading a story and they have to specifically say it's not in the US.
It's not in the US. Yeah. Or someone will comment like, I don't have this experience. What are you talking about? And it's like, oh, found the American. And then
exactly. But it's like there's a less obvious situation online because it's easier to assume that everything's in your own language, in your own situation, because you're seeing it through a screen in your own language.
Yep.
But it's just like in person. That's like I've had troubles with translating things, communicating, things like that. Like whenever I go to the Philippines, I can't get anything at the flea market kind of place. I can't ask for anything. I just have to point to my dad, who can actually speak Tagalog, and then let him haggle for me. Because if I say a single word, the price triples.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say right now. Like they know. Oh, we got him. They
have money. I see.
He has money. They're gonna say this is a deal, but that's actually 2x the price of what it actually costs. Oof. But also shout out to the people in Mexicali though, because they are so chill. Like just the general person there though, they're just so, and they have to deal with that. But they're actually so chill and very kind people. So
what's tipping like in Mexico? Do you tip there? Because I know in other countries you don't.
Yeah, I think in the area that do we tip? I think just in the area that I was in, it's normal to tip because it's so like there's some American companies coming over, but I don't really know if I haven't been to like
because I would have tipped that girl
area.
who shrugged, tipped her the word,
tip the Walmart employee. Oh man. Oh. And I did forget another part of that Walmart story is when we were leaving the parking lot, we forgot that we had to pay at a machine, right? So we before you get into the car and leave, you have to pay at the machine, get your ticket, and then get in your car and drive towards a gate and then put in your already paid ticket, right? But if you don't do that, then you just kind of get screwed. It's not a good system, but obviously the people who live there would know. But we forgot to do that, so we get up to the gate, and then our guy puts the ticket in. This is the guy who's English only, right? And it doesn't work because I'm like, obviously we haven't paid. We need to like back up and go back. But there are a few cars behind us, so it might be a little difficult. So he presses the assistance button, right? And then the person on the other end is security guard, and she starts speaking in Spanish. And then our guy goes, English only. Can you just open the gate for us? And it's like, no, she's not gonna just open the gate. And he's just
English only. Let us in for free. Huh?
And then he just keeps going, can you please open the gate? Can you please open the gate? And then the lady finally goes, 1 moment, please. 1 moment. And then they send someone out to come and help us. So this guy has to walk all the way over, come and get the money from our guy, and then walk over to the machine and do it for us. And then as the guy does this, like he does it for us, and then he comes back, and before he can give us the change, our guy just speeds off in like a huff, like, ugh.
No way.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is our fault, obviously. Like, they came out to help us do it, and the guy was bringing back your change. He just put the ticket in first, and then he was about to hand you back your change, and he just sped off in a huff. I'm like, oh, these people probably think these Americans or whatever. Like,
these fucking Americans.
Oh, sorry.
I was driving in Mexico.
It's not bad. It's pretty easy. And like the lines aren't as defined, it's still a little.
Okay.
You just kind of have to go, like if you see a little gap, you take it.
I had a really bad experience renting a car
in Mexico.
Whenever I rented a car, or my family would rent a car in Mexico, something wrong would always happen.
Like it would break, or you'd like hit somebody.
Well,
10
points. So one time we had just left the rental place.
Yeah.
And we're driving on the road, and this rock just comes and shatters the windshield, and we're like,
oh,
we hit not even 10 minutes out. And we're just like, well,
can't get
a thing.
You can't call a safe light there. Safe light repair.
Safe light
please.
No free sponsors, Kyle.
Oh, that's true. I don't know. Maybe they'll hear this and they'll want to sponsor us.
But no, like that happened one time. Another time, we got a flat in the middle of it. And we opened up the bag to like hoping there's a thing there.
A spare.
They had like the like replacement tire. But they didn't have the tools to like.
Oh, you don't have like the crowbar thing to.
No crowbar, no car jack.
Oh,
we're just like, well, what are we gonna do with this?
Obviously, the family holds the car up, and then someone unscrews it with their hand. Right?
We were really lucky that there was I think it was a security guard who came and helped us.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But I was like, oh man, in the middle,
I wouldn't know what to do, especially in our area.
In the middle of Mexico, just like, well, shit.
Is there Hertz roadside repair? Maybe.
Is there AAA here?
Is there AAA? But anyway, okay. So that was my travel experience. What about you guys? How's it been since the last? Well, it's a weekly update this time. That's pretty good. Sticking to or is it it's been 2 weeks actually. 2 weeks? Yeah,
2 weeks. 1 week,
weeks.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Miguel, you got anything? I mean, I'm still on my last week of break, so it was pretty chill for me. Not too much of an update. So.
Ooh, that's nice. Just a lot of stuff at work. I think one time I had to go in on Saturday, and then we were working the entire time. We're just like, why are we here 9 to 5 on a Saturday?
Is it? Did you have to? Like, it was a important thing, or?
Yeah, we had a big release.
Oh, okay.
And then like some things started breaking, and of course, whenever that happens, you're all screaming internally.
Is it often that you go in on Saturdays?
No, it's usually for big releases. I think there's usually like 1 or 2 a year, but this one just had to go in.
Oh, okay. Are those like pre-planned? Like when that weekend's gonna happen?
Yeah, we know when it's gonna happen.
At least it's like well structured like that. Like it's not like suddenly they like cancel your plans.
I was this close to getting out of it, and then they're like, "No, Malaysia can't help you. You got to do it yourself.
You made yourself too useful. You're like, I bet maybe I bet he can do it. You know what? Some guy in Malaysia convinced them, and he took the weekend off. It's like, I think
See?
your guy can do it.
My only thing is like, okay, I was able to work from Asia for 2 weeks. Like, I'll take a weekend. I'll take working a weekend as a
Oh, that's true. That's true. They
Yeah, that's
replacement.
fair.
kind of like
I
a payback.
was able to go to Asia for 2 weeks and not use any of my
vacation time.
Yeah, so
That's
pretty
true.
awesome. Yeah.
worth it. I was thinking about this specifically because my coworkers just found out that their vacations accrual now instead of like all up front. Is it the same for you?
Did they change it, or was it? Did they change it for you guys? Or
Apparently I was the last person on my team to get it all up front.
oh, good for you. Yeah, I used to have it like that, all up front, but I know they changed the. I heard they changed the policies, but for my current position, it's also accrual. I hate that. I hate that.
Does it expire after the year?
It doesn't expire. No,
Okay,
that would suck. Imagine you don't start with anything. You have to accrue it, and then you have to use it by the end of the year. That'd be awful.
There's a reason no one's in December.
Yeah, that would be so funny. But no, that's not, it better carry over. But I hate the idea that you have to save it up, and you have to okay, then I'm gonna take one huge break off. I mean, I feel like people work hard enough that every year they should have a good amount of time off. Like,
my other friend just changed jobs, so now she works for the city.
oh, is that
And
good, or I don't know, like government jobs?
she gets pension.
Oh yeah,
so that's nice.
Right.
And her insurance is really cheap.
Mm,
I think it's actually free.
wow. Like health
But
insurance
the pay
and
is
stuff?
obviously lower as a result, and her hours are long because there's not a lot of people working with her. But like she was like saying like, yeah, I don't actually have vacation since I'm technically on probation right now since I just started. And I'm like, damn.
What? How does that work?
How
So you
long
don't
is probation? Like 3
Yeah.
months?
I don't know. But
Probably
like
3
that, and
months.
then it's working 980
Oh, she gets a 3-day weekend, right?
like once every
2 weeks.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's assuming she doesn't have to work overtime. It's like, are those benefits worth it?
Mm.
The benefits of the pension, of the lower
I guess it depends how it balances out.
I guess.
And like
Yeah,
how much
like
they take out.
how much of a pay cut is it
Mhm.
compared to the industry standard? I don't know. Like, what percentage of it is it? 70%?
I don't know the industry standards, so I can't say much. I've only been told that it's lower, so it's like, interesting feeling. Like,
I
would
guess
you
this
rather
probably
have
also more secure. So
yeah,
that's
that's the difference. Yep.
You know, it's the longevity.
Yeah.
Would you want to try the 9x80 work week?
980 work week. I used to want that because it's like a guaranteed 3-day break.
Guaranteed 3 weekend every so often.
Yeah. But who knows how many times you'd have to work that. It
But
depends.
you're definitely like working more during the times that you are working, right?
Like the amount of hours is the same, but I think the hours that
over
you're
less
there.
days.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it depends. Like, yeah, you might lose a bit of time after work, especially with like family or anything like that. But I would have wanted to try that because I think the 3-day breaks are good, especially like doing trips and stuff, taking like 3-day.
True. What about you, Jason? Would you pick the normal 540 or the 980?
So I had to look up what a 980 is because I don't think in my industry we do that kind of stuff. It depends on like where you work too. I think a lot of I'm just gonna say pharmacist. Who cares if they can identify me at one point?
Doxing,
They do a lot of the 10-hour shifts a day, and then it's like
Oh.
4 days of the week.
Mm.
If that makes sense. So still 40 hours a week, but it always ends up being like you get 3 days off a week. That makes sense.
That is
I don't
good.
think we do like the 980 or the.
That is good. I would want my pharmacist to
Yeah.
have a good amount of time off and then come back well rested. You'd be like, this is the mix that we're supposed to give you. Yeah. And then,
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I feel like people in healthcare kind of like get worked to death. I don't know, even doctors. and
doctors,
nurses.
I think so.
Doctors,
Nurses
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
You know what's really crazy? Okay, here's a story. Okay,
All right.
sometimes I go in for my 7 a.m. shift, right?
Mhm.
And the overnight nurses are there just wrapping up their shift.
Mm.
And as I'm doing my morning routine, I overhear them talking. And these overnight nurses talk to each other, and then they go, "Hey, are you coming back tonight?"
Oh,
And the other person goes, "Yeah, of course I'm coming back." So their work schedule sometimes is so whack that they have to work overnight, right?
mhm.
And then they come back the same night to do another overnight.
Oh, wow.
So,
They're
like,
just sleeping in
their
their car at
day-
that point, right?
Yeah, their entire day is you just go home and sleep for like 6 hours, maybe, freshen up and then go back to
And
work
then go back to
or
work.
something. So are these people well rested? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But every time
Dude.
I hear that kind of conversation, I go, wow, that's like life as a nurse must be really rough.
It-
Yeah.
Wow. I know, like my mom's a nurse, so she tells me all these stories. She tells like
Yeah.
my mom's like 5 feet, and she's like telling me stories where like, yeah, we have to lift this like 200, 300-pound dude and flip him
Yeah.
over and like do all this like it's like manual labor. It's a lot of manual labor alongside a lot of mental like focus that you need to do too, because you're administering
sure.
drugs and then you're doing
Oh, for
paperwork.
sure.
And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, very grateful for my job. But
know, yeah.
and props to my mom for working so hard and
Nurses.
and
yeah.
doing that, man. Props to them. Yeah.
Like I really
Mhm.
couldn't tell you how many times I've heard patients yell at nurses for no reason. Because
That's
they're literally the only people they can talk to, I guess.
yeah.
And they feel really entitled.
They're
I guess.
trying to save
So-
your life or make your life
Yeah,
better.
it's like help
Why are you
them,
mad?
help you. Okay.
Right. Yeah, just
Yeah, like she's the only way you can use the bathroom. Okay. You should
Mhm.
maybe be nice to this.
yeah, you
person.
should be nice to this lady who's, wiping your
It's like
residue.
yeah.
Resident.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You don't know, man. There's some of
Be
the
like
the
Oh
stuff.
no, I'm sure. But oh God.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's move on to the fun millennial facts game. Woo!
Whee!
I forgot to get a music for this one. Dang it. Dun dun dun
okay.
dun. Millennial facts. All right, guys. There we go.
Lovely.
I'm gonna ask you
Millennial
guys a question, and then I'm gonna propose 4 multiple choice answers, and you guys choose which one you think is the most accurate. All right. So the first
All right.
millennial fact question is: what percentage of millennials will not ask for time off of work because it makes them too nervous or they are afraid of what their boss might think? So this is from a LinkedIn study. And so A, do you think it's 5%? B, do you think it's 16%? C, do you think it's 35%? Or D, do you think it's 52%?
52% for me. I was thinking even higher than 52 before you even read
Oh,
the
wow.
choices.
Dang.
So
I was
I'm gonna
thinking
go
about
with
it
the
first,
highest
but at the
option.
same time, there are some of us who are like, I don't give a shit anymore. You fire me, I'll get another job.
Wait. But then when was this study done?
I think this
Was it
study
pre-COVID or post-COVID?
I think this was like during COVID. During COVID times.
During COVID.
Yeah.
During
Mhm.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that for sure would have lowered the number, but if it's during COVID, I'm not too sure. I'm still gonna go with 52%.
52%.
I think
I'm
it
gonna
should
go
be.
with
I think it
second
used to be
highest.
higher than that.
I'm gonna go with the second highest one.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, the
What was it,
answer
36%?
is actually, yeah, The answer is actually 16%. So it's a
No way.
lot lower than what you guys thought. But I thought personally this is really high. This is almost 1 in 5. So like I'm thinking like 1 in 5 people on our team like don't want to ask for time off because they're too scared or they're too nervous. But why did you guys think it was so high? Like what? Like
why
half,
are we so all over the place?
half the. So Jason, you were saying half the people would be too scared. Is that true in like your industry or just in general?
Or no?
Where
Okay,
do you
so
get that
here's the angle that I was approaching this. I didn't actually think. So what I was saying by 52% is not that half the people, half the millennials actually don't ask for time off. It's that their general sentiment, is that they're afraid to do so.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they will still get time off, obviously, but they're just afraid to do so because they feel replaceable. I don't know how the job market is right now across the board, but I still think it's competitive to some extent. So, you know, if you do the wrong thing, maybe you get fired and someone will just replace you. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know. I thought most people thought that.
I can see that. I think it's just like our generation has a lot of, or maybe it's just people nowadays. You hear a lot more about like anxiety and things like that. And I feel like going up to someone who probably hired you, probably gave you the position, like trained you to a certain extent, and will probably decide how much you're going to get a raise moving forward. You want to look good, so like that's why you're more anxious about doing it. But at the same time, I can see why it's lower, because I could see a lot of our generation not giving a shit. We're moving on to the next job. It's not really job loyalty anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of a why haven't you moved on to a new position if you've been here for a certain amount of time kind of thing.
Yeah, because the job market right now, depending on your industry, is getting tighter. A lot of people are losing their jobs right now, but I like that the trend is not so high, like 50%. Because just like imagine competing with everyone around you, and they're like, "I'm just not gonna take vacation, just work forever," and then you're like, "Well, now I have to do that too." And that sucks. You know. And I would like that everyone is just on the same page, where you have to be a little nervous, but just work hard when you're there, and you know people will understand that people will cover you when you're not, and it's kind of like the management's job to do that, to make sure that things still run even though like you're not there, or you'll be able to cover someone else when they're not there. So I feel like that should be considered. But yeah, 16% is oh, I wish it was lower.
I think it's a good thing that the number is low.
Yeah,
but I think if I could add a little bit to that, just like explaining my perspective, I think ever since I started working at a hospital, and I guess I started and then COVID sort of hit hard. So then the staff shortage issue at the hospitals were really big. So that there basically wouldn't be a day without a call out, if not many call outs. So then everyone's like scrambling to find coverage, people being called in, or people being asked to stay over, or you know, pull a double or whatever, all the time. So I personally definitely felt at times, if say like my manager asked me to stay over a few hours, or even pull a double, or come in a little earlier, whatever the situation is, I felt maybe before I wouldn't care, but because I understand the staff shortage and the position that I'm in, I felt more inclined, or not necessarily coerced, but more inclined to, you know, pick up that shift or something like that.
A
so
moral
I guess it really
obligation.
depends on what. Yeah. And you know, these people might have a say in what my future is going to look like, of what if I'm going to stay in that field, right? So that's why I felt it would have been higher. But I guess it really depends on what industry you're in. And again, it's a good thing that across the board the number is lower.
I mean, with that, Jason, let's say you have plans, and your boss comes to you. You're the only one. You're the last person I can have come in. Can you possibly come in during the time you had plans already?
Well, okay, so most of the time I say
that?
no, actually. Like, if they ask me 10 times, I would say no 7 times, 8 times even. Right?
Okay.
But if it's like a dinner plan that I just made with a friend that I see all the time, I could reschedule that. So it really just depends, I think. But again, like most of the time, I just say no. So maybe I don't even care. So maybe the 16% makes sense. You know, yeah.
Because I think the I don't care is more our generation. Does that
I
make
always
sense?
thought that was like more of a Gen Z thing, no? Or is it
It
us
could be.
too?
Maybe like a late,
I
late.
think, the in between us and Gen Z.
I'm like a late
That's true.
millennial, right? I think I barely make the cut.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure we both-
Yeah.
yeah, we both barely
Barely.
make the. Oh, gave away our age there.
Cut it.
We barely make the cut, plus or minus 10 years. So anyway. But okay, all right. And I have one more question for you guys.
All right.
And the question is, what do you think is the average millennial debt? All right. Oh, is it 10,000, 28,000, 37,000, or 63,000?
What range is millennials again? Is it mid 90s to or no?
No,
Early 80s
it's
to
like
mid 90s type of thing?
let me check. What is it? What?
We're talking
What
about people that are
years
possibly
are
in their 40s as
millennials
well, right?
Yes.
Grouping them together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What
That's a
year
hard one.
are millennials in? 1981 to 1996.
Okay, I see.
Mm-hmm.
So 30s to 40s.
Yep.
Just about like
Mhm.
late 20s.
Late 20s.
What were the options again? I'm sorry.
So
Write
it
those
was. Oh, no. I honestly only wrote the answers. So I'm gonna read the other ones. So it was 10,000, 28,000, 36,000, or 62,000.
I'm still sticking with 28.
28? Well, I have to pick 36 then. I don't think it's as low as 10k or as high as 62k.
I
was
think
gonna
to a
pick the-
certain extent, especially with the debt forgiveness, a lot of it has been paid off, especially during like the freeze during the pandemic, the debt freeze. I guess it's just for student debt. Yeah.
Oh,
But I think like a
mean,
lot of people like.
I
worked
think
on paying
28
that
is
off.
also right, but yeah, I'm gonna go with 36 just for the.
well, the answer is ding, ding, ding. Miguel got it right. It's 28,000. Again, Jason, half a point. It is 28,000. And
What do you think, Kyle?
honestly, I was shocked, but thank you to my life situation, parents. That's a lot. But a bonus question on that. So, about what percentage do you think of millennials say they carry a balance on a credit card? Just throw a number from 0 to 100. Just throw out a number.
Oh wow.
What percentage of millennials carry a balance?
This is something that I've never personally done, but I've recently discovered that more of my friends are doing this. Like they don't pay off their credit card debt completely.
Oof. Don't do that.
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell? Like I went to lunch with someone yesterday and she showed me her balance and it was like 28k. 2800, sorry. 2800,
exactly like this.
2800. Which is still kind of a lot. And I was like, why
And
not
you
just pay that
25%.
I was gonna say 28k, dude.
No, 100.
You need to set up an intervention.
Yeah.
She's paying for your Korean barbecue. She's like, I got this, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'm like, are you sure you have 28k in there?
So what percentage do you guys think? for this one.
There's like any balance, even
any balance. Yeah. This counts for any balance.
I'm gonna go with 70%.
Maybe.
Whoa, I was gonna stay below 50. 35%.
So
this is just my wishful thinking, maybe.
The answer is 52%. So right in between you guys.
Right in the middle.
Right smack dab in the middle. 52. Wow. So every like other person you meet, if you don't have a balance, they do. You know. So it's
everybody else.
Everybody else, yeah. That's crazy. So the average debt is 28K, and over half the millennial population has credit card debt that they're holding on to. So do these numbers sound like pretty high to you guys, or what is your perspective on like first the 28K and then the 52%?
I think the 28K debt makes sense. People in their late 30s or 40s probably should have paid off their college debt, I imagine. But
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. But then maybe they incurred some other debt for other things. I don't know. Like 28K doesn't seem outrageously high. I think that's understandable.
Also, like, what do you think of like debt? Like, is mortgage a debt? Because that's like a good thing to have a mortgage, right?
That's true. I didn't look at the
like, what are they considering
into
debt?
it. So if it does include the mortgage, that would be good. But from my perspective, I had like no clue on this amount of debt. I thought that was a really high number. I was like, whoa, I couldn't imagine myself having that much. I'd be freaking out right now if I had that much. But yeah, if it's in like a mortgage or something, that might be good.
This included mortgage, though. Shouldn't this be way higher?
But wouldn't it be way higher? I would think it's way higher.
Way higher.
I don't think it includes, but 28K, like assuming like this is probably from school or like car loans or something, or
yeah, school, car, or your credit card debt.
Right. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I didn't have any schools.
Like helping children or something like that, or like you're taking loans for like.
Well, I don't know if I'm taking 28K to donate to like UNICEF or something.
Oh no.
Just
like
just to be in debt.
I'm like friendly, but
yeah. I guess the one is school debt, but for your kids, kind of thing.
Oh, like a college tuition debt or something.
Like letting your kids go to college or paying for some private
like
thing
would you guys go into debt for maybe not like college, maybe like some people might have to take out loans for that, but say pre-college, would you go into debt to improve your enroll your kids into something? Is that something you'd go as far as to? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I don't.
Well, I don't know what the sentiment is nowadays. Like, I don't know how competitive it is to get into a good school or whatever. But we all went to private. I went to a public school and I turned out fine. So I don't think.
Same.
I went to both.
Like a lot of huge amount of money.
So I guess it's really what you're looking for.
Like it's gonna be competitive for kids in the future now. Like it's gonna be way more competitive, I'm assuming, just because like I went to a Costco recently and we picked up a book and it was like math for toddlers 0 to 3 and I'm like, what? Like 0 to 3 years old. what are they trying to teach them at 0 years old?
Calculus, obviously.
Calculus, like imagine what school is gonna be like. The curriculum is gonna change, right? Like they're gonna expect kids to know things faster because it's more competitive and just the expectation. It's gotta be kids.
Kids gotta be kids, but I'm thinking like even. Can you imagine college with ChatGPT?
I read it.
It's already a thing, right?
It's already a thing.
Well, it is a thing now. But can you imagine being in college?
If ChatGPT was a thing.
If ChatGPT was as prevalent as it is now.
I feel like I would get like ideas, have it pre-write it, and then I would just like change it to make it like better and change it. I was never a very good writer.
Like, to a certain extent, they're gonna catch you if you only change a bit, right?
I guess
and they also have access to ChatGPT too, so probably they have like the immediate answer from ChatGPT already like saved. Like, hey, if they answer this, then
obviously. But like, it's like, what if it's the thing you're trying to teach? You know, like, oh, geez, I keep using like, oh, guys, But the thing that you're trying to teach is, what if ChatGPT is like outputting that, and then that's what the students are trying to learn. Like for example, like I cannot use like, guys, So for example, in humanities, we have to read all of these books in school, right? That teach us different aspects about relating to human nature, all the way to some vague Nietzsche thing that I'll never understand. I never understood those readings. I'm like, I don't know.
Just go back
God is dead.
Kafka and thinking about
is that metamorphosis? Yeah, exactly. Right. Or the crazy reading of like the Iliad that is not in proper English. I'm just like, what is happening? I can't understand. But if ChatGPT outputs something and it's the answer that maybe they're trying to understand or you're trying to teach, how much more can they change? Or, you know, but I think it's more about teaching kids how to the critical thinking, and then being able to analyze it on their own. But yeah, when it comes to writing essays, ChatGPT might just be able to spew out a good answer. What can you do from that?
Yeah, I don't think we were ready for this as a society.
I didn't.
It just kind of, they just went boom. Here's ChatGPT.
It's just ChatGPT, right?
Yeah. Everywhere from everyday living to lawmakers and all that. No one was ready for this.
No one was ready for ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT wrote our whole podcast intro. I would have never written that.
That's true. Yeah. This whole thing up until now, this hour mark, everything's scripted.
Everything's scripted. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah. Even the stutters and the likes, all.
It says right here, stutter for 0.75 seconds.
Oh, there you go.
But if those are all the millennial facts questions I had, so pretty shocking. But good to know. Good to know. And we'll revisit this in the next episode. But so now let's move on to looking into any more updates from you guys. But before we move on to main topics.
I think that was good. It's unusually frequent episode, so I don't have too many updates.
Okay, let's take a little break, and I need to get some water. I think, you know what it is. I'm using like more. So my body's like, see, my body is saying you're talking so much. We need to add something in there.
Time out. We're giving you a shot every time you say like.
Right. All right. I'm going to transition, and we will be right back.
All right.
To take a break. So you guys can stay on here. I'm just gonna put on the share thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like click. Phone. What? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the COA podcast. I just wanted to share something that Miguel sent us, and here's a little topic here. Men lost at sea 29 days say it was a nice break from reality. It's a very millennial thing. Just wanted to get away. Been gone for it. You have to think about this, like, so they're lost for 29 days, so they must have been on like a pretty legit like boat, you know, because they're able to survive for 29 days. They must have had
they're just on a fucking atoll.
They're like, they're just surviving on an atoll.
Oh,
like
I don't
just
know,
in the middle of nowhere.
It just sounds hilarious to me. Specifically because the picture was somehow an atoll.
They just have all the resources. They're like, oh, this is so hard. But you know what? It was nice to get away from my difficult life. So anyway, just throwing that out there.
My
But
boss
yeah,
always
that was,
asks me to come in overtime.
anything. Like, I'd rather be lost at sea.
I don't want to ask for extra time off, so I'm just gonna lose myself in a
So I'm
boat.
gonna lose myself in a boat. Exactly. Like, we can turn into port,
They
but I'm
can't
just gonna
fire me
close my
since I'm in a
eyes.
life-threatening emergency.
That's. I'm in PIP right now, but they can't fire me. So we're gonna jump into some of the topics here that we start with. So we can start with some fun relationship kind of stuff. And the first question for our topic this week was, so how have your expectations changed from a partner from like high school, college, to higher level education, and so on? Would anyone like to start? Oh, maybe I pose this question so I can start.
Yeah.
So starting in high school, honestly, high school there's no real connection. I feel like I was not very popular, or
I kind of have to say that's false.
I was not very as handsome as I am now in the high school. So always single. So I was like, anything that breathes. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Whoa!
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but I feel like it was just like, at the time it was just, they're pretty. That's it. that was high school for me. That was for me. I'm not gonna lie. But as you grow older, into moving into college, the expectation improves. I would say it improves, but it didn't go super high or anything. I was still into, like, I was still young, naive, looking for, and almost anybody that I found attractive starting off, because you're in college and you don't really know the intricacies of what kind of people you'll meet there. So when it was in college, it was at first. I also started college with braces, so I was not. That was bad start. Not a great start. So I didn't look great there. But it started off with, once I got my braces off, and then someone showed interest in me, it was like, oh yeah, this is it. I hit the big leagues, boys. So to be honest, that's when I think about it, like how I was before, that is how I did feel in the beginning. And then as you move through different relationships, you start to learn about what you actually do not like and what you do like. But then from this transition, for me, it was not about finding what I did or did not like, but it was also about being as honest with myself as I can be. Because sometimes I would think back in the day, like, I don't like this person, but do I not really? Like, I think, conflicting emotions going through college. And then once you get through college and it's, life is getting more serious, you really are looking for someone who aligns, doesn't necessarily align with your goals, because you're still trying to figure yourself out, but someone who can help steer you to making you a better version of you. So once I got past college, that's what I was looking for. And I definitely found that. Shout out. But anyway,
she's behind you, isn't she?
Maybe.
Off camera with a gun.
There's a little dot on the back of my head right now. But that's how I evolved from high school to college, to post college, and it ended up with being with someone who makes you better. I'm still improving. I'm still a young man, but going through. So, what about you guys? How have your expectations changed in the women's category?
I think I can sort of lump together my high school days all the way through sort of recently, I think.
Okay.
Because they've all been, like you said, in varying degrees, just, hey, do I like this person because of their appearance or whatever? There were basically fewer boxes to tick back then. Or were there any boxes to tick really besides just their appearance? I don't really know, right? When I look back, I think it really was just, hey, do we have the same interest vaguely, and do I like their face or their appearance? And then if we click, that's great, right? So we start dating. There's no not that many strings attached, or it's not like, oh, we're gonna be together for the rest of our lives, or it's just lower stakes. But I think, I don't know how this happened, but just recently, I think it's because people around me started getting engaged or getting married even. That started to get me think, I am at that age where I should be considering other factors as well. I used to date someone my first 2 years of school here, like pharmacy school. Where was I going with that? But anyway, it's like your goals have to match, right? And then your values have to somewhat match. And your stages of life have to somewhat match. And you have to get along with this person, and you have to like the way they look, right? So I think, in summary, I think I'm becoming less and less compromising, if that makes sense. To some extent. That doesn't mean that I have to find this perfect person. They have to tick all the boxes. Obviously, I'm still in the stance that if our core values align to some extent, which honestly is like 3 or 4 things really, like how you see the world, how you want to raise your kid, or like family values and all that stuff. If those things align, most other things can be worked out. But if I were to compare myself now to how I was back in college or even high school, or really any time before a few years ago, I'm definitely less compromising. Or it's just like, like when I walk around or something, I might run into someone that I think is cute, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna date them, right?
You're gonna try to get to know them for sure.
Right,
it's
yeah.
more...
and there's like a very high likelihood that I'll find something about them that I can't compromise, if that makes sense. Whereas in high school or college, if they're if they look cute, I might date them. Like there's way higher possibility that happens, but just not anymore. If that makes sense.
Is there like you don't think of trying to like influence them, or are they such big red flags that it's like, oh, they cannot, there's just no way this will work out?
Well, okay, here, I mean, like let's say I'm trying to date someone in college even, and if the conversation goes towards family stuff, and I ask, do you ever want kids, and they say no, and if I want kids at some point in my life, that's something that I wouldn't necessarily care about back then. I don't think it'd be a question that I would even ask them at the time, because why does it matter, right? You're in your early 20s, I'm in my early 20s, like we don't even know if we're going to stay together for the rest of our lives. Who cares? But let's say if I'm on a date with somebody and I'm in my late 20s and this person's in their late 20s or something, time is sort of running out, especially for females out there. Like friends that are around me that are female, they always throw this word around. It's like, oh, my biological clock is running out, which is sadly true. So the question becomes more real. There's more weight to the question. So then if that person doesn't want kids and I want kids, and that what is the point of,
like,
I don't want to be so dramatic here, but like what really is the point of continuing that relationship, given that that's a core value that someone has? I don't think that's something that can easily be changed. Maybe you can talk it out at some point and convince the other person, but the way I see it is that's a core value that has to match, one of the many core values that has to match with yours and their person, but that person's, in order to move forward. So there are a lot more gates to pass through in order for you to get to even the next step, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
So kind of sad if you want to look at it that way. That's why I think it's harder to meet people. And like modern dating is just weird, man. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you guys are in relationships, so like.
Well, can you describe modern dating? Can you describe modern dating? Like, what is?
When I say modern dating, is I think it really just describes the situation that I'm in and the people around me that are single, the situations that they're in. It's just hard to meet people outside of the field that you work in, I guess. I think we all knew that this would be true. Like the moment you graduated college, for example,
oh yeah,
you're kind of stuck with the people that you work with, or if you ever change jobs, then it's the same. It's the or depending on how big your field is, you might even see the same people or the people that know the people that you used to work with, et cetera, et cetera. So the scope gets smaller and smaller. Oh, for sure, right? And especially for me, as I move through my 4 years of curriculum, it's the same people all the way through, excluding the people that are coming in, obviously, every year. But I'm not gonna. It's just kind of weird in a graduate school setting that I try to date someone that's like that. That's sort of the culture that I have. Huh?
Where's the seal?
No. See, I'm not the seal. I'm not trying to be the seal here, right? So that's what I'm trying to say.
Is that a deal breaker though? Age is that instantly?
Well, I mean,
is this maturity or like?
Yeah, it's more of a maturity thing, but it's not a definite red flag. Whereas where like if someone is in their early 20s, I immediately say no, you're too much of a baby for me. I've definitely seen people that are in their early 20s and way more mature than their colleagues, right? Or people that are way older than me and are still like acting like babies. I think it just depends on their upbringing, but it is a pretty easy way to filter people before you get to know them, obviously. But what I was saying about modern dating is, I think people at my age usually are stuck in one place in their life, and it's hard to meet other people other than through word of mouth or through their friends, or I feel like nowadays online dating is becoming less of a taboo. I feel enough people do that nowadays.
I think it's mainstream now. I would say,
yeah, it's more mainstream.
Generally meet, unless
you're
going to bars every other weekend.
Exactly.
Jason, do you have a life that you're not telling us about?
Who does that anymore? Right? Who goes to bars every other day? So, but if we talk about online dating, I don't know if you guys have experience with it. I've
experienced failure.
Same.
Right, but it just feels artificial to me. Like I've given it a try. It's just kind of weird because I've always been for more of an organic friends first and then move into relationship type of thing. But that's obviously not the premise when you go into online dating. So I think modern dating is in a very awkward place, or maybe I'm in an awkward place. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that was a very long answer to that question.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Like, what? Trying to date on apps. Half the people there are solely there for fucking. And then of those people, or of the people who are actually looking for a relationship, how many are you attracted to? Kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like interesting on how things go. I think like you definitely have to go in with a certain like, this is what I want. Don't jump from one thing to another.
I think it's good that you have like the core values developed, and then when you do meet someone, you'll really be able to find that person, and you'll really be able to connect with someone like that. But yeah, I see why it's hard to meet people outside of your circle, because you like actually have to go somewhere, or the apps are just superficial, or it's just showing the quote unquote the best parts of people, and it's not going to be real. But maybe the risk might have to take the risk and jump out there.
Are you a serial killer?
Just meet in a well lit area, and it will be it'll be good. It'll be okay.
Crowded, well lit area.
But that's a good perspective. It's good to share that. I think
it's just another sad part of getting older. I feel like I think the excitement's gone, and you start to measure up other people with all these metrics, and if they don't fit the bill, and move on.
Do you think like you would have to? I guess it is with every relationship, but you'd have to compromise, or there's something that you might have to like give up in the end of the day.
For sure.
So, but Yeah.
If it's as small as something like, oh, you decide to move in with each other and the other person turns out to be super messy, then you can work that out, right? Like either you just live with it or you can convince the other person to be a little bit more tidy. Like that's fine. But if it's something like, you know, like I said, family values or even political views nowadays, I feel like you just can't. I think the climate nowadays, like, you just can't
rough.
date someone that's on the opposite spectrum of.
I think opposite is difficult,
views.
but if you're both moderate but on different sides of the
yeah, that's
moderate
fine.
scale,
That's fine.
like that's
but I'm saying like a
than-
leftist left.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no way that's happening.
Yeah, I'm just saying like a Trump supporter can't date like a BLM,
Right.
speaker,
None.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, or like a BLM activist. Like, you know, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, crazy household.
Yeah, that'd be wild. It's like never turn on the TV ever. They don't have a TV at home.
They don't- yeah. It already broke.
Every 4 years, there's a fight coming.
Yeah.
So what about you, Miguel? How have your expectations changed as you've gone through the phases of high school, college, post college?
It's weird because one, the girl I wanted in high school is the same girl I want now. Like that's one thing, and like she's always been my best friend. So like she's kind of always been like perfect.
So like when you went through the different phases, right? You guys weren't together at the time, right? So how did you go through? Because you were like still obviously trying to learn about yourself and get into other relationships, like which like you've gone through in college. So what was your mindset as you were going through those, knowing that the one was out there? Like how did that experience go for you?
Like I need to take a shot. In college, it was very much, how do I say it? I was kind of looking for someone that like me, someone that could be my other half, and that someone that I also liked. And then even more so, like, did we have a lot of things in common, things like that? Because I know myself, I'm terrible at speaking about random small talk. Like generally, I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. I'm terrible with communication and like some sorts of that. So even now, I'm terrible at communication. Like I make so many fucking mistakes. Like, oh yeah, that was dumb. Now that I think about it, kind of stuff. And it's just like, where am I going with this?
You're saying like you're trying to find someone like you,
find someone
like that, like the same thing
that I can really connect with, and I guess like even in college, like the things I'm thinking about now, wanting a relationship moving forward, like Jason was saying, like marriage, kids, things like that. I was thinking about that in college too. Like, to be honest, like I like stopped liking people because we like, oh, this isn't gonna work, kind of thing. Or like not really stop, but like the feelings died a bit. The crush died.
Like the honeymoon
like,
phase,
oh, this
kind
isn't
of
gonna
thing.
work. Not honeymoon phase. So you
Oh,
haven't even got into that.
like actually of like a core
before
value.
we got in, yeah. So it just stayed friends with.
So in college, like what core values like were you thinking, like family values and like what other kind of stuff?
Like yeah, family values was a big thing. Although I will also say that how do I say this? Like I was also a horny college guy. That was also definitely there.
All right, being real.
Not going to fucking like.
You can use the British word. You were a Randy college guy. That's
Is that actually the British term?
Yeah,
for this?
that's a British term for it, Randy. That's why there's no one in Britain named
Sexually
Randy.
Aroused or excited.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's why you don't find him.
Anyway,
move to Britain. Name yourself
Randy. Hi, I'm Randy. People will be like, "Oh,"
but like
keep it in your pants, sir. But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, like if I wanted to date someone, I always like had that in the back of my mind, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like, no matter what, I wanted to be dating someone that I thought I would end up with.
Mm.
Like that was always on my mind whenever I wanted to try to date someone.
Mm.
So I guess that hadn't really changed.
Mm.
It just so happened that all the stars aligned and I got lucky.
Mm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Did you ever at like one point, like you know there's the person that you want to be with out there, and then but you were with, you were interested in someone else. Did you go no to that person because the other person was still out there at some point, or did that ever happen?
No, because at the time I'm always thinking of whoever I'm interested in at the moment.
Mm.
Like at the moment, that person is the quote unquote perfect. And then when you get out of that, is like, oh, I'm fucking stupid.
Oh yeah, I feel you.
Oh yeah, you feel me, Kyle?
I feel you.
I mean, everyone that's ever been in a relationship feels that way. For
Yeah.
sure.
Mm-hmm. And don't beat yourselves up about that, viewers. It's real. Don't worry. It's something you go through.
But like, what else? It's also like how much you want to put into it, and how much you're willing to compromise, willing to, hey, this isn't ideal, but fuck ideal. I'd rather be with this person than some dream that will probably never happen.
Mm. That's right. Yeah. Like going back to what Jason said earlier, it's like if it's not aligned, like why even? Even if you're already in it, you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. Like if I could bring up an example, a real life example that I had, I had to end a relationship because my then girlfriend was moving to the East Coast for the foreseeable future. And when I say that, I mean at least 2-3 years, at least. Right?
Oh.
And then she wanted to build a career out there. And this was right when I was starting school here, so I would have been tied down here for the next 4 years, right? So the choice was, and then everything else was fine. There really was no issues, I don't think, or big enough issues that I ever thought about ending a relationship because of that. So the choices were I stay with this person, do long distance for 2 to 3 years, and maybe forever, or one of us move to wherever the other person is, or you just go our separate ways, even though things were good. So I chose the latter because I thought it was unfair for the both of us. So that's like that's a big thing, that not necessarily a red flag, but something that would preclude you from continuing to date someone, that same person, if that makes sense. So
theoretically, if she said, I want to make this work long distance, what would you do?
She said that. She said that.
Oh, she did?
She 100% said that. And I had to be, or I'd like to think that I was acting rationally. And it's not like I said, I hate you, let's break up. It was more of a very
this isn't gonna
rational conversation that I had with her.
Okay.
I mean, like some tears were shed, obviously, like emotions had to take over at some point, but I try to stay as cool as possible. And I said, here, listen, do you really think 2 years from now, 3 years from now, do you really think the decision that you're about to make right now, do you think you're going to think that it was worth it? And I said no. So you just got to measure it up yourself. It's like, you just think about it for yourself, and do you think whether you think is the relationship is worth more than your future, or,
okay bringing it back to that, if that person came back to the same area, after however many years it's been, and then asked you to hang out, would you do it?
I could hang out.
Knowing
See, like
exactly
I
what
don't think
happened.
I've ever.
That might happen.
Oh.
Would
Get
you
back
hang out
together?
with the possibility of something more kind
Oh.
of thing?
Interesting. That's an interesting question. No, I mean, if you ask me right now, right, that same person came back. I don't even know where this person is anymore. But if this person came back and asked me to eat dinner with them, I'd be more than happy to, because I never break up with someone on bad terms. I don't think. But would I want to go a step forward? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I think at this point in life, you're not just trying to like date them, right? You're still trying to gauge who they are as a person, and then maybe, yeah. Jason's going in. It's like, oof, going in for the catch.
Ooh, Randy time.
Randy time.
The Randy time.
The Randy time.
Yeah, those are not my thoughts anymore.
Past that.
Yeah.
Wait, anymore? Jason, you have some stories to tell?
We all had Randy. We all had our Randy phases, right?
Are you past that phase though, Jason? Like, like biologically, right? Like people are.
No, wait, what?
People are still I've done that.
Oh.
We're asking how many one-night stands have you had?
It's still there, right? It's still real.
Yeah, wait. How many times do you hear a story about this 70 or 80-year-old guy like giving birth to, like, having a kid?
Yeah.
With like a 20-year-old model. That's
Speaking
that's all
of which. Wait, did you hear that? Like, is it Robert De Niro just had his 7th kid?
Yeah, that was him. I was about to bring him up. He's having a kid. He's like 70 something, right?
I feel bad for the kid. Like, they're gonna grow up and their dad is like 80, 90.
So
like,
have a ton of money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, instead of a dad.
Come pick me up, Dad, and the arm's gonna be shaking. It's like severely shaking the baby, struggling to pick it up. That's,
oh my god.
I don't know. I feel like something's gonna be not wrong with a kid if they don't have like another parent, but like maybe like something's gonna be odd, because now it's like they're just being raised by the money of an old. It's like the grandpa, pretty much. Like,
oh yeah,
he's gonna be playing with the kids. Like, hey, there's my dad, and then they're gonna be like, oh, there's my dad. Like, I thought that was your grandpa. It's gonna be, but I don't know.
In a wheelchair.
But I don't know. They'll be talking about that at the yacht club or whatever. So that's not that's a different scenario. But okay, thanks for sharing that, guys. That was good perspectives from each of you and how we've grown and changed, and we're getting there. So ready to move on to the next topic, guys? Anything else you guys want to share about this one?
No.
All right. So the next question is, so what are you self-conscious about, and how do you think it's impacting your life? And then the follow-up to that is, how have you tried to improve your situation, or what you're self-conscious about? So I can share first on this one. This is the first thing that came to my mind. Maybe it's not like super deep, but for me, it's like I'm really afraid to offend people when I talk. And this is really bad, especially at work, because when there's like something that needs to be brought up or said that's like not what's maybe incorrect, or when someone is talking and it might affect the project or something, I tend to hesitate to bring it up, and so it's like very bad, and I'm seen as very, very quiet about it, and seen as like shy. And I think this has been brought up before, and it's like people are saying, oh, you should be more, not aggressive, but you should be more outspoken about these things. And that's just been, I think, throughout my entire like professional career, I'm just very like quiet, and like not because I don't have ideas, or not because I don't think something needs to be spoken about, but I'm just so shy to do it. Like, I'm just like debilitatingly shy. And like, not like sometimes, okay, this is so embarrassing. There's one time at work, I don't know why, but like in my old job or something, my manager told me to go talk to somebody about something, and they're like just standing right there, and I was so shy I didn't. And then like it was just really weird. Like, and then I'm just so shy, and then I don't want to be offensive, and then it just gets to a point where it's like it looks like either I'm not interested in talking to somebody, or it's like I'm just debilitatingly shy sometimes, and it's like something that I have to like genuinely, forcibly, mentally overcome. That is like real.
And is that just in the work setting?
It is like in the work setting, yeah. I feel like it's everywhere, but more so in the work setting. But that's just more where I meet, newer
Do you think
people.
it'll get better once you become more senior at your workplace?
I don't know. I'm trying to work on it and trying to speak up about it. But it's just more, building confidence in the workplace and doing that. I think there was one. I think the only times that I really get pushed are like if something's like really on the back end and I need to get like something released. Like one time I had to release a document, and there was an employee that was like out of state that I needed to sign it. And she was very concerned that there was one word that was missing. The word is folder. Like it didn't specifically say in the document that we hold these pieces of paper in a folder. She's like, you have to have the word folder, but we specifically already say in the document that we store it somewhere in this area. And I'm like, why do you need the word folder? And then it got to a point where I started yelling at her. but before, if it wasn't like time crunch or if it wasn't deadline, I wouldn't say anything. I would just be like, oh, okay. Like I would just be very passive about it. But it got to a point where there was like a few days, or like I was gonna get like, it was like really bad if it wasn't gonna get through. So that's why that's when it pushes out of me. But I don't think it shouldn't be that it's last ditch scenario, or it's at the end where it comes out that I'm able to just speak and articulate and just put my foot down. It should just be standard. Don't be a dick, like obviously I'm not trying to be like that, but that is what I'm most self-conscious about in my work.
This kind of ties in with the third question, but is that your work culture? Do people do that on the regular, where they not necessarily being rude to each other, but they don't hesitate to voice their opinion?
I think there is a different level throughout the workspace. Because of where I'm at, like it's the Silicon Valley. There's a lot of very go type of people here, and it's very fast paced, the way people move and their expectations. And there are people out there that are just like, they're type A, they're so energetic, they just want to keep go. And the work culture, I fear the work culture starts to revolve around that because of that expectation. Like if there's someone who's performing like that, and it's like, well, everyone, that's like the A student, right? Everyone has to perform like that, which is like they work way overtime and it's unsustainable. And, but people are very like, in my workspace, at least work culture, they're very kind and they're not rude, and they're very helpful for the most part. I will say that it's good for the most part, but there are people that are very, I say, not compromising in their stances, and that's something that you have to work through. But for the most part, it's like very kind, helpful people. You just, you only just really remember the ones that annoy you. So, yeah, I think it's a good work culture, but I just fear that it gets driven by those go type A people. That I'm trying to chill and live a sustainable life. I don't want to be burnt out by 35. And right. And on a side note, with that work culture kind of thing, it's very prevalent that it's like if you work more and you work, that just becomes the new minimum, and you're just going to be worked even harder. So it's just like, be careful. Like work hard, obviously, help the team, but like if you're doing overtime all the time and you're putting in all this effort and hard work, your manager is going to expect that to be normal. That's just normal now.
Right.
That's not above and beyond anymore. And that is not great. But if if you're hitting the goals, but you're doing it in a timely manner and you're maintaining your work-life balance, make that the norm. And that's what I'm striving to do. I'm just like, I can do it. Don't worry. Just like, don't make me stay here for 90 hours. Like, don't worry, it'll get done. Yeah. But yeah, that is the work culture here. I don't know. Do you guys have any other questions about that? Yeah.
I guess did you talk about how you've tried to improve upon your self-consciousness?
Yeah, I've just been thrown in situations where you have to host different meetings, or you just have to stand your ground in some situations. But it's hard. I'm trying to take note of how I act in situations where I am pushed to the edge, like where it's like time crunch, so that I can kind of learn from those situations and then maybe try to use those tools when I'm not in such high pressure enough. But it's just taking note of how I do it in those situations and just being more aware of how I'm acting in those situations so that I can apply it to other times. That's how I'm trying to improve it. But I don't know if I'm doing any better, but I'm trying. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I've been doing that. What about you guys? Anything you're self-conscious? Doesn't have to be about work either. It doesn't have to be about work, by the way.
I mean, kind of like what your thinking is. You're talking about the go 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 mentality of Silicon Valley. What I'm always thinking of is I'm always pumping the brakes, thinking, "Are you really doing this correct? Are you really doing this correct?" Kind of imposter syndrome, kind of feel. And it's like double, triple check everything, but because of that, it's like slowing things down that shouldn't be slowed down. And it's like, you should have this already. You should have this already.
Is it you asking you should have this already, or is it someone else asking?
It's myself telling myself that, like, this is what you've done should already know this kind of thing. Like, this is a simple one. You've done this before. Why are you triple checking this? And then that's only for my own work. I'll trust whatever my coworkers put out, even though I should probably double check some things for you a few more times. So thinking about, hey, did you really do this correctly? Is there a faster way? And like, I've always overthunk or been overthinking like that. Like, I bombed so many interviews because I was thinking like that. Like, oh, there's a fast way to do it this way. Oh no, you shouldn't do that. So it's like that always came to mind, kind of thing.
So what have you done anything to try to improve this? Like putting on the brakes, even though you know you can do it.
I mean, in my own head, my thought is my priority here is, now that you know it, like you know this moving forward, stop double thinking things that you've confirmed over multiple times that you know. And then, because I think to a certain extent you need that. You need to be able to pump the brakes and check, hey, did you do this correctly? Because otherwise you're sending the wrong data to someone, you're making the wrong conclusion, you're making a mistake somewhere that could cost, specifically in my field of medical devices, it could mean that the doctor misses something as a result, and then the patient can't find and the patient doesn't get the treatment they need, kind of feeling, because you didn't see that. So it's like, it's necessary. The question is getting to the spot where it's like a good balance, and finding that's difficult.
Is it on a kind of a side question here? So what is your stress knowing that your code or your software has that much of an impact when you're writing code or you're working on stuff? I have a friend who said they don't want to work in medical device because they're afraid to hurt someone because their code was wrong. Like, how do you feel, I guess, just day to day when you're working on this? Like, is it, just how do you feel when you're working on this?
It's more stressful when you know something is breaking. Like, that's like, okay, I need to fix this. How do I fix this? What can I do to make it better? what can I do to find why this isn't working? But when it comes to updating things, making sure, or like releasing a product like that, like, yes, making a mistake there could result in something terrible, but at the same time, if you don't get it out, what's the result of them not having this new feature you're making, this quality of life thing that helps the physicians understand something better? Like, yes, getting it wrong is, you got it wrong, someone might have died, it's possible, but how many, you don't hear about how many saved. Hey, because you changed this, they were able to find something else. I'm never going to hear about that. I just need to hope that like, I just need to make the best that I can, and fuck, if something happens like that, something's happened like that. It's kind of like doctor, like being and like giving them the treatment, but not as personal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like it's possible that whatever you're working on, whatever software or whatever hardware it
So,
is,
like,
it'll have a direct impact
you
to the
gain the
patient.
fact that you're never going to be seeing the patient who, if something went wrong due to your stuff, you gain the fact that you're never going to see them. You're not interacting with them. You don't watch them die. But you also lose the joy of seeing some patient in particular. Like, I assume with doctors, whenever they make someone, or like they see someone get better, like, there's a certain amount of joy they get from that. Like, there has to be. Like, you don't get that, but you lose the, oh, I fucked up and this person I've interacted with is gone kind of feeling. So it's like, you get both.
Yeah, I gotcha. I think though it's very fortunate that we all work in like healthcare medical device and in an industry that actually is impactful in a positive way to people's lives. I think at the end of the day, the core thing that we're trying to accomplish is trying to improve someone's health in some way. Whereas like if
Unless
we're
you're a
just
manager, then it's money.
working, that's money. That's true. You're trying to push people to do it faster. That's true. But we're fortunate enough to be able to work in that type of industry
And do both.
and help that it helps people. Like if you're working in like, say, I don't know, like Meta, or just for example, like I heard like when I first moved to the Bay Area, there was like a couple walking behind me and they were just talking about their jobs, and one guy was like saying, oh yeah, I do the ads for Google, that's my job. And I was thinking like, how fulfilling. I mean, maybe you get a lot of money, but like just thinking about your job, like you make the ads, or like you create the AI that tries to detect my emotions to figure out what ad will entice me to buy a product. Like, what good does that do for humanity? You know, like the job
That's
is
so
I make
sad.
the ads for Google. Like, yeah, okay, you get paid a lot of money, but like your job is literally to try to manipulate people to buy things based on the history that they haven't personally shared with you. Like, yes, they signed an agreement. Do they really know that I looked for the I was gonna say some weird stuff. But anyway, so they really know I was searching for that thing on Google that one time, and now you're trying to get me to buy it, you know. But fortunately for us, we get to work in a place where we're saving lives. We can, and yeah, we can. Yeah, like you said, Miguel, it's not like we see it directly, but at the end of the day, we know we're making a positive impact, I would say, as long as we do a good job. So, Jason, what about you? Anything you're self-conscious about? Looking up to that.
I was gonna say imposter syndrome as well.
That's okay. You can elaborate on that because I think we're all different in different places. So.
Right. Long story short, I'll try to make it short, I guess. So I've always been self-conscious about my ability, like speaking, my ability to speak, whether it's in a public space or not, it's in general. I think I've gotten over that a lot throughout my time in school right now, because uh, whether I liked it or not, I stepped into a lot of leadership roles when I was in school, or throughout my time in school right now. And then sort of one thing leads to another, and I stepped into a lot of different roles, and I had a lot of responsibilities and chances to speak in front of big crowds and all that good stuff. So I think I'm much better at that now. So that's a little bit better. So that's long story short on that front. But I think given what I want to do in the future, my clinical knowledge is very important for me, I think. You can like do all these leadership positions and all this good stuff and get good grades in class, but once you actually step into your role as a pharmacist in the future, if you don't know your stuff basically, then you, like you guys were saying, you can harm a patient's life or their health outcomes or whatever, right? So depending on where you work, you might be engaged in direct patient care as well, so it could directly affect a lot of people's lives. So your clinical knowledge matters a lot in this case. And being a student for 3 years, so like the last year of our curriculum is full rotation, so you step into different sites, whether it be hospital or like your community pharmacy or whatever, and then you actually have to fulfill your role as a pharmacist pretty much. You're obviously under supervision, but you can, by California law, you can basically do everything that a pharmacist does, just under supervision. So things start to matter a lot now, right? And having been just a student for the past 3 years, you really don't know where you stand in terms of your clinical knowledge, right? You might think that you know stuff, but then when you go on rotation, you feel like, or you're gonna feel like an idiot for sure.
Can you explain like how it's, because like from whenever I see a pharmacist, like when I go to the store or like when I'm at the hospital, it looks like it looks okay. That's be condescending. It just like the doctor sends the medicine down, and then it's like, oh, it looks kind of easy. Right. They just get the medicine, right? So, like, what is it that what's the complication in that? I'm out of for my curiosity.
So it depends on where you're at. So if you start with the community pharmacy setting, I'm not trying to diss the people that work in community at all, but the general idea is that your clinical knowledge matters a little bit less in that case, obviously, because not only do you not see the entire history of the patient, all you see is the order coming in. So you're the depth of your clinical knowledge that you use on a daily basis is just you looking at the script and judging, using your best clinical judgment to see if there's any drug interactions that could be life-threatening for this person.
Okay.
Or if there is any red flags, because you actually see a lot of people coming in with like a fake narcotics script, for example.
Oh, okay.
That's against the law. So it comes with experience, but again, not really too clinical there. So if you suspect anything that's suspicious about the prescription that's coming in, you may call the doctor to verify stuff in that sort of setting.
You just turned away like, nah, I'm not giving this to you.
Yeah. I mean, you like turn away a bunch of patients because of that in a lot of cases, like actually. So that's like the depth of your clinical knowledge there. But what I'm referring to more so is like in a hospital setting, in a more acute care setting, where if you have that expertise, you pharmacists are part of the rounding team as well. Any sort of medication inquiries go to the pharmacist a lot of the times. And obviously patients are more critically ill in the hospital, so there's a lot more for you to check. You'd have to check the patient's labs to make sure that whatever drug that you're giving them is appropriate, or there's a bunch of stuff to think about there. So I like to personally think, and I'm sure all my doctor friends or pre-med people are going to throw up their arms when I say this, but I think that we're close to being doctors, just not being able to diagnose by law.
1 second, let me call someone.
Okay, no problem. Oh, no.
No, just kidding.
they're gonna be like, how dare you, like eat into our scope of practice, like, which is fine. I'm not trying to do that, right? I'm not trying to diagnose somebody here, but
you're saying if
it
you
really
had to,
depends
you
on.
could.
Yeah, if you had to, you could,
Mhm.
right? If you had to, you could.
Mhm.
Because in a community setting, if someone comes in with something,
Mhm.
let's say you have a question for your pharmacist, you come in and you have all these symptoms, and the school teaches us ways to interview the patient to see what the best next course of action is, and you might refer someone to to their primary care doctor, or you might recommend them some over the counter stuff. So that's like part of diagnosing. You just don't know. You don't have all the resources available that a doctor has for you to do the full diagnosis, but that is like a soft diagnosis. And obviously, by law, we don't diagnose. So I'm not trying to overstep my boundaries here, but I'm just saying I don't think the general public understands the depth of clinical knowledge that is required if you were to say work in the hospital in more of an acute care setting. Um, it's not just like it looks easy, right? It looks easy. But that's actually what I thought too. Like when I first started school, my goal was to just graduate, get a degree, go work at a CVS somewhere, look at my computer for 8 hours and just go home and get a decent pay. That was my idea.
Mm.
But now my goal is to more so go to the hospital and more work in the acute care setting and challenge myself a little more. So that's sort of the background for people who don't know what it is, and I don't blame them for not knowing because I didn't know either. So having said that, clinical knowledge matters a lot, and imposter syndrome is real. Like I said, I haven't actually started my rotations yet, and the first rotation that I'm stepping into next Monday is supposedly the hardest one in terms of like your clinical knowledge.
You got this.
So we'll see. We'll see how much I know. I feel like I know more than most other people. So we'll see. Because when I was rotating through this other hospital at the end of my third year, so this past semester, I was able to do like more hands-on stuff, like looking at patients' labs and adjusting their antibiotics dosing or their anticoagulation dose. Like, all this stuff is way more clinical than anything that I ever done in a hospital. So then you do that stuff and you talk to the pharmacist that you've had shadowing for the day, and then you make your recommendations, and they would actually give me a lot of validation. It's like, that's like a fair assessment. We'll go with that. And then that recommendation actually goes through the system.
Oh, dang.
And there's a patient on the other side that's receiving the dose that I gave them, basically, right? So that was a little bit helpful in terms of getting over my imposter syndrome. And I'm sure it's just a matter of time. I think it just comes with experience. So yeah, hopefully, as I get more experience under my belt, I'll be fine. Yeah.
I got this. Yeah, I think it's the experience and just doing it. But yeah, it sounds like you've got some validation.
It just transcends all fields too. It's like everyone has imposter syndrome. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit up your place of work, and I'm gonna come with all these symptoms. Hit me up with those sweet drugs, and then we go
sweet drugs.
Just get some validation from your guys there first, and then I'll come in a little later in the day, and they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I think Jason's right. Yeah, just pop through.
Yeah.
Got me."
You might want to erase that from the podcast.
But that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know that the level of the pharmacist is like, it's pretty much doctor, like as you're saying, because I just thought it was just passed through. Like the doctor would be like, here.
Because I think it's because everyday people, they just see pharmacists when they go to CVS or Walmart or whatever, right? And then when you go to the hospital, you don't really see the pharmacist ever. Or even if you saw one, you wouldn't know.
Oh, like when I go to my hospital here, and sometimes they prescribe me stuff. Like the experiences that I've had with a pharmacist are, it's like a few times, like my doctor would have said something, and then when I go down there, like one time, like they're asking me, "Do you know how to use this?" And I'm like, "Oh no, can you kind of go over it with me?" And like they would just kind of read the label, and they'd be like, "Okay, make sure to." And then I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, like okay." It just felt like very quick, like they're just trying to get me out, So
Yeah,
that's
I
just
don't
kind of
blame
the
you.
experience that I had. So it always kind of felt like, oh, the doctor's just telling them what to do. But from what
Right.
you said, they're taking a look. Like there's maybe my history is there, right? And they're probably making sure like
Yeah,
I'm not taking
yeah.
all this stuff that's gonna like kill me because I told the
No.
doctor about like I can't do this, but then I didn't mention or maybe something else is in the history, right? So okay, it's good to
Yeah.
know. You know,
I think it's
more
a case of
respect.
some people just care more than others.
Mm.
Some people are just so jaded that they don't want to talk to people. Actually, they just like to
They
move
just want to
along.
go move along.
Yeah, but at the same time, they are doing their due diligence and making
Mm.
sure that because they're like just like there's like an oath for the doctors. I think there's an oath for
The
healthcare
Hippocratic
workers in
Oath, is it
general. I
that one?
think yeah, the Hippocratic Oath or something. So like
Mm.
do no harm, right? So
Mhm.
I think they are doing their due diligence. Is that sometimes some of them are jaded.
It's just the way
So-
they're like they seem. They're just tired, you know. They've been there all
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, that's true. I feel the same.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks for the
Yeah.
perspective because that actually helps me
Yeah.
understand and appreciate the pharmacists a lot more.
Yeah.
So I get it. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay.
Great.
But yeah, you got this, Jason. You got this next rotation.
Thanks.
And then
I will survive.
yeah. Thanks for sharing your perspectives, guys. And Miguel, don't worry, your impact is more positive. Don't worry. Okay,
Yeah, Miguel.
it sounds like you're really, you know, you're double checking your work, which is good. Like it's good to do that, but yeah, don't hold yourself back from making those changes when you know you can do it. So don't worry, you got this, too. You guys got this. You're all good. So let's see. What's the next question you guys want to go into? Do you want to go into work culture? I kind of talked about that one. Do you want to discuss what your work culture is like, Miguel? And then Jason, you can describe your work culture. Yeah.
I find it super chill in terms of like it really feels like all my coworkers were just friends hanging out. We're all helping each other, things like that. And apparently that wasn't the case before.
Oh.
Hearing from like the senior engineer, apparently there used to be a lot of like cliques and like inter-team, like people keeping things from each other kind of stuff.
Mm.
And like we're all like we're gonna mess around, but we're gonna get our work done, and we're gonna give you shit for we're gonna give each other shit for like, hey, why aren't you doing this kind of thing, and like keep each other accountable, but at the same time, no one's like, you're not putting in 17 hours. No. We'll make fun of each other like, yo, you're not going in today? That's fucked up. kind of thing. But like I didn't experience the clickiness that I heard is present in a lot of other teams. So I'm really appreciative of that.
What is the like age range of your team? Like what kind of
with the exception of the senior engineer and my manager, pretty much the entire team is plus or minus like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, that's good.
So that's good. But at the same time, because of that, it is a young team. We're all, for the most part, I think, other than the senior engineer, the entire team has been here less than 2.5 years. So we're all new to a certain extent. We're all still like trying to figure things out.
Are you guys like, since you're all pretty new, are you able to just come up with the ways of how things work now? So since you're a new team, you guys are pretty much laying a foundation for what's to come for future teams and like that. Is that how it feels like, or are you guys just kind of still working in your own way? Like you're helping each other out for sure, but when it comes to doing things, it still hasn't been, I don't know, well developed or yeah.
To a certain extent, yes. We had like a whole system that was set up when we were under ops, but we just got put under R&D again. So a lot of the systems that we had, or like a lot of like the, hey, this is how this flow is going. That's being changed. That's being looked over. A lot of things that we're doing is being looked over. So it's like, okay, we're still trying to figure things out.
Like looked over by your management or even more senior management, or who's looking over it?
So like specifically, we have two data teams, and some requests go to one team over the other. But there are things that fall in between. And
okay.
Like what used to be, hey, this isn't ours no matter what. We're also now thinking like, hey, maybe we can do this. So like
defining job responsibilities between teams.
Yeah, especially now that we're part of the other, or like part of another org kind of thing. So it's like, hey, with these new things here, how are you going to do it? Now that we're all part of the same org, do we want to split the teams like this? Do we want to do this work in that manner? And that's all I'm leaving it up to the higher ups. So that's over my head. Tell me what I need to do. As for like what we're creating, it's how can we simplify what we're seeing in the field right now, so that we can find things faster, find problems faster, fix problems faster, things like that. And of course, deploy things to break what we have working. Because let's be honest, that's what any deployment does.
Is your like company open to you guys being innovative in a sense? Like it's pretty well established, but since you're a new team, are you guys able to do things in like a new manner, or does management push back against that? What's that culture like, or what's that aspect of work like?
If it's new, it's got to be documented.
Okay. Well, that's good for med device, I suppose. But I suppose that's also pretty limiting as well, right? Like you have to, you don't want to do it because you have to document it. And,
we want to do things, but at the same time, we have to go through a whole process, and it's like, okay, how's it gonna work? So
I understand. It's like, it would make things better in the future, but ain't nobody got time to do that right now. I got to prove.
We need to get quality to look over this 5 times, and then quality is busy because they're looking at something else. So 7 years later, you find, hey, can you change this one small thing, and we'll look at it again, and you'll wait another 7 years.
I feel you. I see. Okay. Well, it's interesting that you guys are a young team, like energetic young team, but in a very developed organization. So you're still able to get things out, but it's limiting and it's different. So that's pretty cool. But it's good that you're all around the same age, though. It makes it more fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For in my team, from that aspect, we're ranging. Like I'm one of the younger ones, but we just hired some fresh meat from college. And then there's also people that already have families, so it's like a pretty big range in our team. But there's also a different sense of maturity too, because there are people that are like older than me, but they're like their maturity level is about the same as the guy we just hired out of like college. So it's a strange dynamic because they're older, they should be more mature, but they're not. And then there's some people that are about younger that are more mature, and there's some people that are older that have families, and it's a weird dynamic on our end too.
Like during like lunch breaks and stuff, what do you talk about with your coworkers? Do you talk with your coworkers?
I do. I honestly, I'm so antisocial, but anyway, I try to. But people like it's interesting because the people that are older than me are they feel like they're not in like relationships yet, but they have like the maturity of the really young people, and so we're trying to like get background. They're talking about, for example, going to the club and like meeting people, and I'm like, I don't do that anymore. I can't relate to that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. What are you like, 30 something already? And I'm like, oh, okay. Cool, dude.
One of my coworkers is going to EDC all 3 days.
But that's it's a thing. But there's also some people like I have that are younger, but they're talking about their marriage is coming up and they're engaged and they're going to their wedding soon. And that's something that we talk about, that I talk about with them too. So the conversations just vary all over the place, and it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. But yeah.
Do any of your coworkers do any interesting side gigs?
Side gigs? I know where you're going with this, but for my coworkers, do they do any interesting side gigs? Honestly, not that everyone's pretty focused on this job right now. They're all pretty tame, so nothing interesting that comes up right now. Anything for you? Anything for you?
There's a manager on our team who apparently has an OnlyFans.
It's so funny.
Oh,
yeah. I refuse to look at it, and I also refuse to pay the $35 for it. But like, what's hilarious to me is like the different, because we after like about a year, we added a girl to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Like since the last girl left, we just added a girl, and it's been like a year and a half kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like what used to be, oh, we're probably gonna thinking like, oh yeah, if anyone heard some of the jokes we're making, we're probably gonna get fired.
Oh, is it like how is the culture? Is it kind of, I don't say broy, but is it kind of like that there in a sense? Is it, or is it like a software thing?
Kinda, but like, it's not like sexual harassment kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, when you have one coworker who is very open about his side gig,
his activities,
it's like, wait, like other jokes come out very easily, right?
Yeah, I see.
And like, to the point where like he's open, like he just went to Germany and was talking about, oh, the brothels there.
Oh wow.
And like apparently it's a different like look at it. It's just a job. No one they're located next to like senior homes. So in the middle of the day, they're taking care of the elderly people. And then the elderly people during the night like watch out to make sure nothing sketchy happens. It's like, wow, I've never really thought of that dynamic.
They're just protecting them. That's good.
And then like different stuff like, oh, the rooms themselves are incredibly clean, but in the lobby, don't touch anything.
Ew. That's gross.
And it's like, huh, I didn't need to know this kind of stuff. Thank you for telling me. But like, if you think about like talking about that kind of stuff, could probably get someone in a lot of trouble, right?
Yeah, there's something similar in my work a little bit, depending on the teams. So my team specifically has a good mix. It's like half, not half. I think there are more males in this team, but there's like at least 40%, I think. It seemed the 40, yeah, at least. And then there are a lot of females that we interact with in quality, so that these kinds of things don't come up. But when it comes to the side, like I've gone on a few like hikes or with some of the males on this one, and they are more broy when they are not with our female colleagues, and that's when those conversations come out. But yeah, that is part of it. It's hard to bond with them in those situations because the conversations are similar, like what you said. Like they talk about heading to Tijuana, and go into the activities there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I cannot relate, but I just try to laugh on the side, like, oh yeah, I've heard of that, but I can't relate. So I don't do that, a different stage and kind of thing. Right. That is the work culture. What about you, Jason? What is work culture in like in a pharmacist hospital setting?
Tell us the lawsuits.
Difficult. The lawsuits. Difficult to describe, I think, because
did you sign it?
there are. Sorry. Oh no! It's just
court gag order. Got it.
I don't even know where to start. Like as an intern, I hold the title intern, right? Intern pharmacist is my title. Everything is fine. Like the work culture thing doesn't really affect any of us, if that makes sense, because we're only there. We're full time in the summer, only there every other weekend during the school year. So if there were any drama or any sort of work culture stuff that would affect us, it'd probably only be over the summer. So we're pretty detached from all that.
Do you anticipate anything there, or like have you heard anything that's stereotypical of the industry? Or like the pharmacist's work life?
I think it's just not even just a pharmacist type of thing. Just people that work in like direct healthcare. People that work in hospitals, I guess, are just a high turnover. Especially recently in the last couple of years, it's just people don't want to deal with the stress and the workloads, so they just leave. So there've been a lot of offers for let's say nurses. If you were to refer someone to come work at the specific hospital, they'll give you like a 10K bonus or 20K bonus or whatever. And like CVS, I think somewhere, or a lot of those chain pharmacies were offering like a huge sign-on bonus, like a 75K sign-on bonus, just to come work because of the staff shortage. So I think that's like the biggest culture, quote unquote, that I can talk about, I think. But that's not just, like I said, in the pharmacy world. I think it's just across the board. There's a shortage of everybody.
How often are they poaching people? Or are hospitals poaching other people?
Poaching people? I don't know. I don't know. You just sometimes see... I don't know. Sometimes you just see the listing. I don't really know. But it's like the workforce is spread really thin. So you walk around and you see all these people that are tired out of their minds and being overworked. And it is... honestly kind of sad, but at the same time they get overtime pay and they get paid hella, so that's a bonus, I guess. But other than that, everyone's like, there's like the age range there is just so wide that I can't even begin to describe it. It's just like all kinds of people that you'd see with all kinds of different interests. But yeah, everyone's generally nice. Nothing too much to talk about there, I don't think, from my perspective.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. You haven't dove into it yet. So once you do, you're going to tell us all the juicy gossip and all the drama going on.
Probably.
In the pharmacy world.
We'll get back to this.
We'll get back to this in a year.
Me in 1 year.
We're going to put a pin in this.
Remind me in 1 year to ask Jason this question. All right, so the next question we have is, do you see yourself working in your current field or industry for the foreseeable future? If no, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what is your end goal in life? What a deep question.
I wrote this and I was like, this sounds like an interview question.
I was like, do I have an answer?
I had flashbacks, Jason. Come on.
In an interview, it's like, obviously, of course, I see myself growing within the company in 5 years. I hope to be management or, leading a team in a major project. But do I see myself working in this field for the foreseeable future? I feel like I'm too deep into it to get out. I'm not saying it's bad. I can say now, I can like 5 years of experience in the industry, I think. I never thought I'd say that. Interesting. Like,
wow.
Coming out of college, I zero thought of working in medical devices. Zero thought. Like, not even gonna lie, I thought biology was boring. Now I'm medical device. So I took one biology course in all of my college, and it was like a single-digit biology course, right? Oh, okay. Miguel's dropping out for a second. Okay, no problem. But I can continue on this one. I took one class. It was something Bio 7 or whatever. And in this class, they literally gave us the final. Like they're like, here's the final exam on the first day. We're gonna ask you these exact questions. We're gonna teach you the answers throughout the year, but you have the questions now. You can just do this. And then I'm like, okay. And I swear for half the course we just watched movies. So I was thinking, man, is biology just memorizing stuff? Like I'm not even right. But do I see myself in this field / industry for the foreseeable future? I think I will be, and I hope to grow in it and to find, but I'm not saying I don't find no excitement in it, but I don't know. I don't want to say I don't like it, but
Right.
I'm not ecstatic. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, it's hard to find, or it's hard to love what you do, I guess.
Yeah. I would love to just do podcasts forever.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
talk
Yeah,
about
if this was profitable, I'd do this
if
24/7.
this is right. Or just talk about
But then
games
I'm
all
sure
day.
at that point I won't like podcasts either.
Right,
So
that's true.
It's a
If you're
dilemma.
just doing it all the
So,
time. That also makes sense. Like
yeah,
I'd say I just want to play video games, but then you think about it, can you just play video games
yeah,
24/7?
I can't. I
And you'd
couldn't
hate
sit
games.
in one seat and just play games all the time. That's
Right.
crazy.
It's okay. We're diversifying right now, so
Yeah. So this is like a side hobby that keeps you going and
keeps you
life and to
going.
look
Yeah.
forward to.
Mhm.
But then, is there like a clear ladder you can climb where in your line of work? Let's say. Does that make sense?
I think I still have to really figure out what I want to do, and I'm
Okay.
doing projects that's steering me in a direction.
Okay.
And
Right.
I'm exploring that. So
Okay.
in time, maybe I'm going that route. Maybe I'm not. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe this podcast will blow
Yeah.
up and we just do
Yeah,
this. but
maybe in 5 years we'll just be full-time podcasters.
That's true. We had 5 viewers today. That's 5 times more.
That's like
last time.
that's so. Imagine next time we're getting a 25,
25.
5 times every time.
Mhm.
Wait, so like, what's your end goal? Like, around what age do you want to be out of the workforce? Just enjoy your life. Do you ever think about stuff like that?
Man,
When you want to get out?
I'm not trying to fire, which is like financial independence, retire early. Have you heard of that phrase? It's called FIRE.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that where I'm like save now and then put it all later, because
Right.
when I think about it, I don't want to be old. I have all this money, but like I want to be young and sprightly doing things, you know. So
Right.
when it comes to that, what was the question again? End goal, right?
Or it's like what like around what age?
What age do I want to retire? I feel like it'll be
Yeah.
the normal, like 60, sad, right? 60 something, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
it'll be around there, but I hope to be doing something that allows me to still enjoy my life. So I don't want to be doing a job now, like late 20s, early 30s, where I'm so stressed that I'm missing out on other activities that are fun and exciting.
Right.
But I also don't want to be like, 40 and I'm like a lowly engineer whose manager is 20 something, right?
Yeah.
So there's a balance that trying to figure out. I don't want all the responsibility now, but at the same time, like you have to take it eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just scared. I don't want to be overworked now and then just exhausted and then just being drained and yeah, but that's how I feel right now. Yeah.
Okay, so this really does feel like a job interview now.
Right, doesn't it?
So I guess, do I see myself working in my current field for them? I mean, yes, I think that like I'm definitely, or it's like a definition of being stuck, if that makes sense, because like it's a higher degree that I work for an extra 4 years, right? So I have to make use of that degree somehow. So not necessarily being stuck in the sense that it's with the negative connotation. I think I like what I do enough that I'll be okay with it for the rest of my life. Because I think pursuing a higher degree for me is seeking stability in your job. I think wherever you go, there should be something for you to do. There's a level of reliability there as well. So for sure, I'll be staying in this field. I mean, there are obviously different avenues you can take even within that field, so I don't really know what I would do. But like I said, maybe in the next 5 years, in 2028, which is crazy, will be what, like 34?
Mm-hmm.
Or I just revealed our ages, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
In our mid 30s or early 30s, which is crazy to think about, with a respectable job, a few years of experience under my belt, at a respectable hospital. Yeah, that'd be great. And hopefully with like a partner, right? Or okay, well, I forgot to ask you this, but with your current significant other, where do you see yourselves in 5 years? I guess that's I like when I asked where do you see yourself in 5 years, that was more of a holistic question, not just within your work. Yeah,
definitely together, and then considering things like, yeah, we're still in the discussion phase about that. It's definitely still together, and hopefully we've gone and traveled and done a lot of the things that we want to do together. And I hope we're in a good balanced place in our careers where we can still spend time with each other and do all of those things. Right. Yeah. Right. But yeah, eventually, I don't know, maybe there's family, I don't know. well, I don't know, you know, like, yeah, I definitely see us, you know, growing together still for sure. There's yeah, and you can see our cat.
Do you see yourself living in like the area that you live in right now?
Oh, living in this area somewhere? It's like a financial question there, you know. It's a good area, and we're
that's true.
I think we're enjoying it here, but trying to buy a house here, man, it's like, for a house that's built in 1930 or whatever, it's like $1 million.
Oh my goodness.
And then like I think someone told me their house is like 700 or like 900 square feet, and it was like almost $1 million. I'm like, what?
That is crazy.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. So I don't think we envision that as something we want. You know, if we're gonna own a home, there's a different vision there, like coming from a larger place. So I don't know. It's not a bad area.
Would you still want to stay in California though?
I think so.
Somewhere in California.
Okay. I think somewhere in California is a nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But it's hard to move somewhere else.
I mean, everywhere is like expensive. Yeah, expensive.
Everywhere's going to be
even
expensive.
If you want to try to go into like the suburban area and then commute or something. That's still. Even the suburban areas nowadays are so expensive. I think
they are.
Like the radius is getting bigger and bigger now.
Places that were not expensive before are now suddenly just spiking.
Super expensive. Yep.
Where can you have to live in the middle of nowhere and then hope that area develops in 20 years or something
before you die.
Because
you like your kids stories about like maybe my kids or my grandkids will enjoy it. That's great. Because you hear stories about like some of my friends that are from out of state. They're like, you know, my house used to be like, I don't know, 500K, and they have you know, infinite number of rooms and amenities just within their property. It's just crazy to think about, right? So
you can't find anything like that. I have people
that are
here.
graduating this year that are moving out of state for that exact reason. They're looking for jobs there. I mean, obviously the pay is a little bit less out of state, I think, because the cost of living in California is so much higher. But then the stuff that you can do with that small reduction in pay over there is so much more, I think. But, you know, I guess it's just, you know, give and take, I think. Because you do sacrifice a lot of the stuff that's here. So difficult to say.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of people here might have family in the area. You just want to keep in touch. And if you go into like, you know, Midwest or I don't know, like Ohio or something, and you can have a huge house, but then you just hang out in your house.
That's true. Yeah, nothing to do. Yeah, for sure.
But here you have all the food, you have all the interesting places, you have the beach, you have there's so much to do.
That's true.
Makes you miss it.
I don't think I'll ever leave California either.
Yeah.
if I could afford that.
If you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll build a super high-speed railway to like Texas.
Is that under construction? Isn't
Nah,
there something like that?
I thought there were. I think there's something, but it's stuff like that.
They're always talking about it. It always gets delayed and
Right.
never gets finished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like there was one planned for LA to San Francisco or something like that, and that was like when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor, though.
No way.
And then that was just canceled, I think, because of the
oh my god,
like monetary distribution or something. They couldn't figure it out, and then just sad.
Of course. Back to Amtrak, I guess.
Back to Amtrak.
Still Amtrak.
I'll see you in a few days, and then.
Oh my god!
By then the weekend's over.
The worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weekend's over. Then you have to head back, and you're and then now you're late for work.
Right.
Miguel, move on. Or
yeah, we can
Miguel answer this question later.
Yeah, we can answer it later. Do you want to do the general public one or the feel old one?
I feel like we've been talking about our work quite a bit so far.
Okay, we can do the feel old one.
Move on to this one.
All right, the next question is, do you truly feel old? Elaborate on why not, with some examples.
Right. So
you have some here?
The reason I asked this question is that the people around me are generally younger than me. Right. So I wanted to get your perspectives on this question because I know, like you said, there are people that are way older than you even within your team. And I'm sure Miguel, frequently interacts with people that are older than him as well at work. So, but for me, my colleagues, quote unquote, even people that are in my class, my cohort, they're generally younger than me. And they usually talk about things that I can't relate to. For example, I'm not on TikTok, right? But all they talk about is TikTok, I think. Or everything they talk about stems from TikTok. It's always something along the lines of, hey, did you see that thing on TikTok? And they all seem to agree. They're like, oh yeah, I've seen that thing. It's like, oh yeah, of course I know that thing. And I'm just sitting in the corner and be like, yeah, no, I don't have TikTok. Yeah, it's just stuff like that. And then every time I go to someone's birthday celebration, obviously someone's going to ask them, it's like, okay, so how old are you now, right? And then they say their age, and they're like, oh my god, you're so young still. And then these are all my friends, right? So they know how old I am. So they all turn to me. They look at me.
Oh my gosh.
But this is like an inside joke, so I don't feel bad or anything.
Okay.
I just kind of play along with him. You're like, you guys are the worst or whatever.
You silly kids.
It's yeah, you silly rotten kids. So I just kind of play along with this. So like, it's not like I'm hurt or anything, but emotions aside, that does make me feel old, right? And like my birthday's coming up in a couple of months, right? I'll be turning 29 this year. And a lot of my friends that have either had their birthdays or their birthdays coming up, they're turning maybe like 25 this year. Some younger ones are even turning 24 this year, right? So that's a huge gap there. And I think the gap is becoming more and more apparent as I age because I felt a little bit less when I started school. When I was like maybe 25 when I started school, and they were maybe like 22, 21. That still sounds kind of bad, but it wasn't as bad back then. But now I'm in my late 20s, almost entering 30. A lot of my friends just joke about how, oh, you're basically 30, which is like, haha, not true, but also haha, kind of true. That's basically what it is. When they're in their into their mid, yeah, haha, fuck you, right? and all the while they're in their mid 20s. So I think the gap becomes more apparent as we age, or especially in this phase of the 20s. So I feel old in the sense that people around me are younger and they joke about how old I am, so I feel old, quote unquote. But does that mean, like, do I actually feel old physically? That was the question that I wanted to ask. So then I'll toss it back to you guys and ask if you feel that way at all at work, or if so, elaborate. If not, you can talk about if you actually like physically feel old.
So the way I feel, I think I still feel younger at work sometimes, depending on who I'm working with or the people. There are people at work that are older than me that I work with a lot. They have a lot more experience in the industry, and that's what makes me feel younger. Like their experience is obviously there, and I feel definitely younger. And then there are people talking about, you know, their marriage coming up or their kids, and again, that makes me feel a lot younger.
Right.
Yeah, like some people that I've traveled with, they have kids, and they talk about like taking their kids to school or like what they were doing with their kids, and a lot of the
My son's
conversation
sick and you need to take
revolves
care
around
of
that.
them.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I generally do feel younger in that aspect, and then also I think some of my hobbies, I like to play games and stuff like
That's
that,
true,
and
yeah.
then it makes me feel young because I don't think they do that as much from what I'm
Sure.
gauging in that sense. But I do, I guess, bodily wise, I can tell I'm definitely getting older because of the more recovery time it takes in that sense. Like when I play soccer now, my body aches more. I think my head hurts more because I get dehydrated faster. Like this thing, like I can definitely tell that body wise, I don't recover as fast, and that matters more. But yeah, when it comes to the the maturity level and the feeling of that, I still feel younger because of a lack of experience in the workplace and then just where people are at in their lives. But it's all over for me because you have a set cohort, right, that you're always with,
Right,
and
right.
but for me, it's just people all over the place. Like, there are people older than me that I can definitely tell they're less mature, and they make me feel older than I am. But then there are people that are for sure at a different stage in life, way farther ahead, and then I just feel like a kid. So
True.
it's a mix. And there are some people that are older that try to relate to the younger crowd. That makes me feel even younger because I'm like, wow, good try. Good try hanging with the fellow kids, But yeah, it changes for me. It changes for me. It's all over. I still feel young at heart. Like my hobbies that I like to do. I do dumb things still. Like I'm still learning how to cook, right? So
Right, yeah.
And the SO is helping with me significantly on that. So, but yeah, it's like different aspects feel a different age, and
Right.
I'm not set on that quite yet. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. What about you, Miguel? Are you back? You have thoughts?
We were talking about feeling old.
Yeah, the question is, do you truly feel old?
I mean, so like everyone I play games with are like 23 to 25. So it's like, yes, whenever I'm hanging out with them, because like Maddie and I will bring up like, do you remember the Chevron commercials with the car toys?
That's not that old, is it?
They had no idea what it was. They had no idea what we were talking about.
Goodness.
It's just like, ugh!
See, that's a sign that we're all old, right?
That's a sign that we're old.
We'll like remember, like, oh yeah, it's that, and like other things. What I had you know how I got in a car crash, like last year, right? How my coworker rear-ended me.
Rear-ended you, yes.
And then I got rear-ended again. So like my back still hasn't recovered from that like properly. So I have to continuously do like workouts to like keep it good. So I've been slacking on that lately, but I should be doing that. So like recovering, and I can't even imagine what would happen if I started playing basketball again. Because I was tired after like when I was in college. Nowadays, like, oh god, if I hurt myself, if I like hurt my ankle or something like that, oh man.
Oh, I'm just sharing an image of the car commercial thing. It's not that
It's on
old.
stream.
It's not
Yeah, that's
that,
definitely not that old.
right?
Do they not watch TV?
Do they not? You know what? Because their generation doesn't watch TV. There's
You're right. You're right.
It's a
They don't watch
streaming
TV.
services. Oh man. Oof. Anyway.
Hebron with Techron.
Oh wait, that reminds me. You know how like when we okay, how do you, if you were to gesture with your hand, how you would make a call? What do you do?
Like you do this,
Oh.
right? Like the it's
The-
like the pinky finger and the
I'm just gonna
thumb.
show it. Yeah, the pinky
Yeah.
and the thumb, and you put it next to your
And put it
ear,
to
right?
your
But
ear,
the
yeah.
kids
Exactly.
nowadays, and I'm
What do they
talking
do?
like kids that were born, I don't know, like in the last
It's
5 years or
different?
whatever.
What?
Right? Like little kids, they just put their palm on their ear. Because
Oh, 'cause
that's a smartphone.
Is it a smartphone?
That's a smartphone.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's a smart because what are they ever gonna see? I mean, like
No
those kinds of phones are still
way.
around,
But they
but
I hate that.
I like saw a TikTok or like a Instagram reel of this like 5-year-old kid or whatever. I don't know how old she was, but she just did this.
to me that's like, are you gonna take a
so-
nap or you're gonna,
Yeah, like what is,
Right?
is your
is your
temples
ear
hurt or
okay?
what?
Yeah.
Someone slapped you?
It's like, are you good?
Wow.
So I think that was whack, right?
Oh
Wow.
God. Yep. Thank you for making me definitely feel old.
That's
Yeah,
shocking
so
to me. Wow.
Maybe you don't feel it right now, but maybe in the next 5 years or something, I think that might be more.
Maybe I
mainstream.
gotta get on
We're gonna walk
TikTok
around.
just to
Yeah,
be able to
yeah.
relate.
Because gotta
TikTok
keep
definitely
up.
makes you feel old, dude. TikTok makes you
Oh.
feel old, dude.
Okay,
My
so
goodness.
legitimately at work today, we were like describing like newer slang to our senior engineer
Mhm.
who has like two like elementary school children, right?
Mhm.
And you're like, do you know what mid means? Nope. So like we explained mid, we explained Riz.
Oh,
Can you explain mid to our listeners
Oh,
who
God
don't
help us
know
all.
what that means?
We ended up describing it as something that's mediocre.
Okay, yeah,
that's
So it's like,
good.
okay, yeah,
That's good.
but like
yeah.
I was sort of like middle of the pack kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Like that's how I always thought mid. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe mediocre is a
It's
better
so
description.
mid,
but
bro.
it's not middle of the pack.
These
else?
do make me feel
Yeah.
old.
I like definitely feel that way too. Like I feel like your boss in a way that I don't pick up these words just by like being on the internet ever. It's just I
Mhm.
walk around and people around me start saying that and I just understand it with context clues.
Mm,
And I just go like ha ha ha, that's funny. And then eventually I just get it.
mm.
But I don't know where these kids are getting these words from, right?
You know
So-
what? When I was in school, because I was in the like the Taiko org, and
Yeah.
when I was a senior there, and there were the new members coming in, even just that 4-year gap. That, you know what? When I was there, that's when I felt the oldest because they were using phrases and stuff that I had no idea
I
what
need
they
you
were
to
saying.
repeat a sentence for us now.
I don't even remember, but I remember the feeling where I was just like, what did you just say? Or like that was my thought. Like, what did you just say?
Is that English?
Like I would ask them, like, what does that mean? Like, that's
Kyle, English only.
English only.
English only.
But yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's the phase in my life where I felt the oldest was actually in college.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that, and
Yeah.
TikTok and all these social media are littered with those things, and then, and like the sense of humor too. I don't know if you ever used TikTok before. I suggest you don't, but
Mhm.
a lot of them are very much like the old Vines. Remember Vines.
Those were
Vines
funny.
used to be hilarious.
Those were good. Yeah,
I used to love Vines.
I loved
right?
Vines. Yeah.
Some TikToks are like Vines, so they are funny.
Mhm.
But some, I'm just confused. I just sit there and like the video and the captions don't even correlate.
Oh,
So sometimes I have to ask my friends, it's like, do you think this funny? Do you think this is funny? Or like, what is this video trying to
Is it me?
say
Yeah.
here?
Is it just me?
Or is it me? Like, am I not getting the joke here? And
Have you ever
oftentimes
asked-
they explain it to me,
Children
and I
were the
still
problem.
don't think it's funny. Yeah.
I was gonna ask, have you
Okay.
ever asked them like, what does this mean? And then when they told you, you still didn't understand. like what?
Yeah, I can't think of a specific example,
Mm,
but again, there are some TikToks where there's a video of this person doing something random and the caption's completely different from what the video is trying to say. And I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. And I go into the comments and people were having a good time, having a good laugh at this TikTok. And I'm just sitting there and be like, I don't know what this is.
I have a new idea for a segment. I should just pull up a TikTok and ask you guys, what does this mean? You know,
yeah, let's do that. Let us dissect TikToks.
Let me prepare that.
Yeah.
Let me prepare
that. That's a good segment because it'd be kind of funny. I think it'd be funny. Yeah.
Is this a short you want me to share, Miguel? Or
it doesn't have to be shared. I just think it's funny.
Okay. I'm gonna type this idea. TikTok dissection. I'll put that as another segment later.
There you go.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So in a sense, yeah, we all do feel old after hearing those things.
Yeah.
I'll get there, but I'm sure the generation before us feels old still too. Okay.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Well, the next topic is more. Do you guys want to do the gaming topics now? We have
let's
do gaming topics.
We can talk about games all day.
Yeah. Okay. So the next topic I have here is, what is the best game to introduce to like a partner or like say for us like a girl who, if you want to get her into gaming, and like what's the best game to play together? I can answer this one first from my experience. So this one you have to really think about depending on the experience of the person you're with, right? So for us, gaming is almost like second nature, where we can pick up a controller and understand, like if you pick up an Xbox controller and you're playing, say, a third person game, you'll know that A is probably jump, B is probably interact or something, right? But all of this, like if you're introducing someone who's never played games before, that logic does not exist. And so when you hand them the controller, it's just like a alien thing. So so for like my example, a past example is I tried to play It Takes Two with SO.
Yeah, I think that's like the answer, right?
But it's the best game. It's the game of the year 2021, right? But now that I think about that game, all right, if I'm introducing someone with no experience on a controller, you have to think about so many things. Left stick is move, right stick is to change the direction of the camera, A is to jump, left trigger is to aim, right trigger is to shoot. Oh, and by the way, you're trying to solve this puzzle together and there's a time limit, so hurry up. Right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I didn't think about it at first because I was like, oh, this is going to be such a fun game for us to play together. But the amount of pressure and anxiety put onto someone is stressful. And just to give a little bit of background on the game, It Takes Two, and why people think it's such a good game for couples is like the premise of this game is there are two parents and they're kind of in a kerfuffle, to say, and there's a daughter and she made these dolls that look like her parents, and you know she wants her parents to get back together and reunite because they're probably going to get a divorce. And so, Jason, he popped up to pop away for a second. Let's see. Oh, he's gone. Okay, he's gone. But anyway, just to give background on this game is that, so yeah, the background of this game, there's two parents that they look like they're going to get a divorce, and the daughter wants them to go back together. So what she does is she like makes a wish, and this special book, I think, takes the souls of her parents and puts them into these dolls, and then they have to go into this wacky adventure to pretty much try to reunite and go through this adventure through this world where they're like mini dolls and they're trying to get back together and reunite and cheer up their daughter, right? But it's such a complicated game if whoever you're with doesn't know how to do all of these things, right? Doesn't have any experience.
I never thought of it as like, I never thought of it from that perspective, specifically because Maddie's played games too, so it's like, okay. But yeah, that does make sense. Like, oh, these controls that are natural to us just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It's just a logic that doesn't. You have to have learned, right?
And
it's hard.
And to a certain extent, like it's coming up with other things. More specifically, like we're playing like shooters nowadays. So we'll play Apex or Overwatch together, and I'll say like, you're out of my LOS. And it's like, what the hell is LOS? I'm like, oh yeah, I need to explain that.
Yeah.
It's hard to say line of sight.
I have made a call like someone's purple in Overwatch.
Yeah, I know.
And I did. She thought it was Discord.
For our viewers, when someone is purple in Overwatch, that means they can't be healed because they have been impacted by some sort of grenade or other effect. So yeah, right. Like think about that explanation I just gave, right? Like you have to know that.
What does that mean to them?
What does that mean?
Mean anything to them?
Why is it called purple?
Why is it purple? Yeah. So I use colorblind mode. It's yellow for me.
Oh.
But yeah, exactly. Right? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
but
imagine.
But yeah, imagine that. Yeah, you just told her that for the first time. She's purple, especially if that character is wearing a purple outfit. She's like, so, like, why are you saying she's purple? Cool.
It's like cool. Oh man.
Cool. Why'd you have to say that in comms?
Like I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm.
So I used to be. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I can attest to it because I used to be a strictly keyboard and mouse type of gamer for like entirety of my life until kind of recently, really. I think like the only game that I would play using the controller was FIFA for the longest time. I only recently got into PS5, and now I understand, how the controller works a lot of the times. But
wait, when I first picked keyboard and mouse when you played Rocket League?
No. So very limited number of games I used to play with the controller. But especially when it comes to shooters or for example, or any game that requires a lot of different buttons on the controller, I had a hard time. So I understand, and that was like I had a gaming background coming in. For someone that never played games, for example, to try to pick up a controller for the first time, that is crazy hard.
Yeah. But so I think the best game right now to introduce, at least in my situation, was Stardew Valley, because I was breaking it down in my head why it's so good as an introduction game. It's 2D, so you can only move up, down, left, and right. That's all you could do. All right.
Yep.
And then the game is almost set in where characters will be, like there are seasons and there are events that happen throughout the game that recur, and the things that you have to do are not repetitive, but they are like when you plant something, it's the same button, or when you're trying to hit a rock with a certain axe, the actions are the same buttons, so you don't have to think about all of these other things. But it's complex enough for you to do those basic things, and over time learn to improve things. But there's no time stake. Like the game's not going to force you to do it right away. You can take your time when you're trying to do it, and you have time to learn these mechanics, and there's no pressure. So in that case, I think that was a good introduction at the time. And then from there, if the person gets into it, they can make it as hard or as easy as they want it to be. So simple mechanics, pretty simple story, and then it's not too complicated. So a good intro.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I was also considering that as well.
And then so moving.
I was thinking,
go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys wanted.
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about a couple of games that I thought.
Oh, okay. Quick. Oh, nice.
I was gonna say, I mean, obviously co-op games, right, are better. I was gonna say like Overcooked, but then we started talking about how hard it would be for someone that's never touched a controller to play a game like that.
I think that one's good Overcooked, though.
Is it? Because then, like,
I mean, you have
imagine the stress level. No.
Overcooked. It'll be incredibly stressful. It'll be incredibly stressful.
Overcooked is more. There's more depth to it than people think. Like the dashing and like the to find control of the stick. You know, I feel like there's more depth to it than that. I mean, obviously, like you don't have to be that deep to enjoy the game, but given that there's like a time limit, you have to collaborate on top of your inability to work the controller. I think that'd be stressful. So I didn't
cook it faster. Cook it.
Yeah, like literally
faster.
Right? I mean, in that case, Mario Party is really good because it simulates the board game, right? That they already have experience in. And then even the mini games, which will take a while, you can practice. Like there's like however many practice rounds that you can just like do it before you actually do it, and then eventually they'll get used to it. But that's again,
that's always a good one.
I feel like that's a good intro game.
Games. That's good. That's good.
Straight to Smash Brothers.
I'm not even good at. I don't even know the mechanics.
I suck at Smash. Yeah. I wanted to pick something.
I'm the guy who goes to Kirby and then jumps off the map with you in my mouth.
Oh, you're that guy. I wanted to pick something kind of unusual, so I was looking it up. We all played Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes before, right?
Oh yeah, didn't we play that together once in I think in there.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah. I recently played this game with my sister, and she's not really much of a gamer. And obviously, there's a time limit here. It's kind of stressful, but I think this isn't much of a video game per se. And I think she enjoyed it enough that made me think that this is something that a non-gamer would enjoy.
I think it
kind of understand naturally.
Like it puts you both in a situation where even if you are a gamer, you don't have an advantage, you know. Like when you play that, someone's reading the instructions and someone is trying to do the problem, whatever it is, but it's still simple. It's just mouse clicking and you're just clicking the item. So yeah, I think even experience as a gamer might not even help you there if you have bad problem solving skills or bad listening skills. So that's a fun game to do together.
The only thing my sister struggled with, the only thing my sister struggled with was rotating the box at the start. That's not something that that naturally comes with for a non-gamer. So that I was like, just hold the mouse button down and just rotate it. So I was like, okay.
I'm rotating the mouse. She's just like turning the mouse clockwise.
You said rotate the mouse.
But yeah, I think that'd be a fun one.
What else? The Sims?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one, I think.
And I think they're releasing a new Sims, by the way, with a multiplayer built in.
Oh.
So 5? I'm kind of hyped for that, if it ever comes out anytime soon.
I feel like that's a game that might reveal some, like, you know how couples go to IKEA, right? And they have like conflicts. Like, imagine you go into The Sims, right, and you're both trying to build the perfect home, and you're like, well, I like it like this, or how come that character is not like a doctor or whatever? I want him to be like that. And you're like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like that can reveal some cracks, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Wait, you mean up many couples? Set himself on fire continuously?
Like one person in the relationship's like trying really hard to raise a perfect family, and you're just messing around.
Like, wait, this is not how you play this game. Like, you're already miserable in real life.
How long until Grim Reaper comes with the kid?
Oh man.
Emotional breakdown midway through, like, oh no.
Right.
Have you both tried Sunhaven?
Not yet.
I have not yet. No.
You mentioned it before.
That one's like the
it's
Stardew
pretty
Valley,
much Stardew Valley, but they add a bit more monsters and like levels.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And like your farming level can like help you like, oh, you sell this product for more kind of thing. So it's like there's a tree that you could do different things with. You can go mining and you can get spells. And then there's, of course, like the seasonal events. So it's I have a lot of fun with it.
Wait, what do you guys think about GTA? For someone that's never played.
Oh man, you know,
hold on. Hear me out. Because haven't you guys seen a video of like old people playing GTA for the first time and they have a blast? You know what I mean? You ever seen those videos?
Straight to RP.
Because like you just walk around, right? Like it's basically like real life to them. When I talk about old people, when they look at the graphics,
talking about
they
us,
probably
right?
think this is like real life. No, like truly old people. So it's kind of the opposite of what we've been talking about. It just came to my head. Maybe that's not too bad because you can just do whatever, right?
So from my experience, GTA has a lot of intricacies that are also very difficult. So GTA 5, the first level is you have to hijack a car and then drive it away, right? And now hand the controller to someone who has never played a driving game with a controller.
Okay.
And
I
you
personally
can see
failed that mission many times.
the shenanigans that follows. Like you can crash into like trees, you can crash into this, into that, and it was really funny to watch when I first introduced it. But at times I'm like, oh my god, just drive straight. Just but
don't touch anything, just hold A.
When I think about how I played it and like how I'm driving, it's really it's pretty difficult. Like I'm like drifting, I'm like really fine tuning my turns, and when someone doesn't have that experience, that level is hard, and that's the first thing you do in the game.
Yeah, that's true. That's hard.
And if they can get past that, I'm sure it's a really fun game to play because you can just do whatever
when you get to
want.
that level, you unplug the controller and you plug in the steering wheel.
Essa told me that when I had her play that game one night, and then the next day we actually started like driving towards LA, and she just had like for a split second an inkling to just like drive off the road. I was like, no, it's not okay. It's not real.
She did, obviously. How many points did she get?
She didn't, obviously, but you know. It's just like, oh, maybe don't introduce that one at that time when you're driving through LA.
Maybe a bad idea.
Definitely not parachuting into the Getty.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, never mind.
No.
So no GTA.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, getting into gaming now, it's hard. But at the same time, like, do you guys consider like Candy Crush gaming? Do you consider those things? I don't either. But
No. Mobile games, no.
No.
Please. What are you talking about? We all love gacha here.
No.
Oh my goodness. No.
Keep those away. But those are
what
good.
Would be the?
What is the?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was thinking.
I was just gonna say, what would be the worst game to introduce to someone or to a potential partner?
The worst game.
That's not a real game. What would rile them up the most? Do you think?
Playing Overwatch with Miguel. I'm just joking.
Let's continually like tell them, be like, hey, stay within my LOS or
LOS,
purple or
purple.
LOS purple.
I'm just kidding. What is the worst game?
Get the fuck out.
Well,
is that's a shooter, right? That's
it's a shooter, but it's also a stealth shooter.
Oh Jesus.
So like the whole point of the game is you're a team of 4 prisoners that get sent down into the depths of wherever the fuck they are, of some lab. And you have to go like extract a file that's somewhere in the lab, so you have to slowly move through the area. But there's like aliens, I want to say, that like if you wake them up and alert them, they call a horde and they all come attack and shoot you. So you're supposed to go up and like slowly and methodically like walk up to them and kill them one by one. And then even then, if you have done it all successfully, there's alarm doors which will force you to fight a crowd.
Yeah, that sounds like that could frustrate someone unless they're very patient. But you need to have actual FPS skills to be able to just function.
The other one I think was like Dark Souls or like one of the Souls games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But what else could there be?
Like what do you think of?
Phasmophobia.
See, I think
remember that game?
Phasmophobia, they
Yeah,
might have
that'd be-
fun though. A lot of people might have fun with
Are
that.
you sure?
Are we going back into Phasmophobia?
I think mechanic wise, it's
No, I
actually
don't
not that
wanna.
difficult. You know, you just pick up the.
But I just thought any sort of horror game they just hate, no? Or unless they're into horror.
I mean,
Unless they're into
like,
horror,
there
they
are
might
a
like
lot of
it.
people who aren't into games that are just into horror.
Mhm.
So I feel like that would be like right up their alley.
I think that's a good game
But I
if someone's into horror. If you meet someone who's into horror, that would be really fun to play with them, I think. Because the mechanic, you don't have any. I guess you have to teach them how to use mouse and keyboard, but
Right.
mechanic wise, it's just like pick up item. And then like there's like the detector, right, where it'll start beeping if they're holding it when there's a zombie. It's not you just hold the button and then the character will hold it and then it'll kind of work as it does in the real world, kind of. You know, there's not like any
Okay, that's
weird
fair.
way. So I think that would be a fun fun game if they're into horror and they like that kind of thing. But
do you guys
yeah.
think it's like
too.
different? Do you guys think watching a horror movie versus playing a horror game is vastly different? Or do you think the level of horror is about the same? Because for me, playing it is on a different level. That shit freaks me out.
I mean, I think it's about the same freakiness as like the horror nights at like Universal or something like that.
Hmm.
Really?
Hmm.
You don't think so? Because you're getting the same like, oh, something's gonna scare me. I don't know what, and I don't know where. I'm like thinking like the fog areas of the horror nights, right?
Right.
Hmm.
So you're getting the same feeling. You know it's coming because like you've signed up for this,
Mhm.
but it's just when, how, what's gonna happen. You're still gonna get scared, probably.
You know,
I think it's just more immersive for me, the gaming aspect. Like when I go to Universal or any sort of horror nights, you know everything is fake, so nothing really scares me at all. So I just walk through things. But that gets me thinking though, because the game is also fake. In theory, I should also not be scared. But I think when I'm sitting there controlling, when I'm the one controlling, I think that's different. I remember back in the day when we used to, what's that game called? Soma? Do you remember that game?
Oh yeah,
That's
we
not
played
really
Soma.
horror.
It's sort of
It's like
horror. Psychological.
semi-horror.
It's like
It's sort of
psychological
horror.
horror.
Like I enjoyed watching you, like Mark and like you guys rotating and playing the game. That was great. But sometimes
Once
we
you
would
hand the
rotate and I'd sit
controller.
there and play and be like, oh my goodness, that just feels. I was like, I couldn't even walk like 2 steps forward. That shit's freaky.
Soma had a scary atmosphere. Like you're like underwater in
it
this
did.
decrepit station, and then they had a level
yeah.
of psychological horror, which was like a what
yeah.
was it? Like an existential crisis question. It's,
Oh,
are you
yeah.
really
Oh, yeah.
you if you're in a robot's body?
I was like, oh my god, this is destroying me.
I'm dying. Yeah, it is different, I think, when you're actually controlling versus watching. I think when it's watching, I don't know if I'm just getting old. Another thing here, I've just gotten to a point where when I watch a scary movie, I'm just like, oh, it's not real, or it's.
Yeah,
I laugh. I kind of laugh sometimes.
Yeah,
it's
same.
there, but when I'm controlling it, like if it's a horror game, like I played Resident Evil Village recently, I move slower through the game.
Yeah.
Like my hands feel tighter. Like I'm not trying to,
Yeah, right.
you know,
Sweaty.
and sweatier.
Sweaty.
Mom spaghetti, knees weak, arms are heavy. Vomit on his sweater already. Mom spaghetti. Yeah. So I do think Phasmophobia it's fun because you're with other people and you can just like shout and stuff and together. But I think it has more fear factor in it when you're actually playing it.
Yeah, I think it's different because a lot of I guess I've seen enough horror movies to notice all the cliches, and again, like Kyle, when I watch a horror movie nowadays, I just kind of laugh and be like, "Oh, I know exactly what's coming at all times." But maybe I just haven't played enough horror games, or
Why
it's
are
just
they
more
casting the
immersive,
black
I
guy?
think.
Oh, he's gonna die.
It's like, oh, there he goes.
All right. But yeah, it's a genre variety, like sharing with whoever you're trying to introduce to gaming. It depends on if they like stress. What if they're into stress? Maybe Overcooked is the thing, What if they what if they like stress? And it's possible. So
Yeah,
it really got to
for
tailor
everybody.
it to gaming is for everybody. And at the end of the day,
Right.
there is something out there. It might take a little bit of work, but you know, if you really want to find something to do, then
right,
it can be done. So, transitioning to that, what is your favorite game of all time, guys, and why?
Oh man,
I'm gonna pull up my like Google stuff so you guys can I can share or
sure. I posed the question and I thought about it ever since I put it on there. I still can't decide on one. If anybody else has a solid idea, you can go ahead first. I'm still thinking.
Oh, okay. Do you have one, Miguel?
I have a few that come to mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Just right off the bat.
We gotta pick one though, Mickey. You gotta pick one.
Exactly.
That's one.
Just one. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna...
Because like some of the ones that come to mind are like The Sims.
Okay.
I'm
gonna like show video of these The Sims.
Katamari is just amazing in my opinion.
Yes.
It's just so much just random fun going
through. Oh, Katamari Damacy, right? Is that one?
Yeah.
Is that the one that you roll or on stuff?
Yeah, you're a fucking
like the sticky ball. You roll
the sticky ball.
Yeah.
You roll up the fucking planet. Like it's so absurd and just so much fun.
There's Katamari for you guys on the YouTubes. Oh, they announced a new one, Royal Reverie.
There's a new one?
Yeah, it looks like there's a new one.
I need to get that.
What is it about this game that makes it so fun for you? What do you think?
Just the absurdity. And then in addition to just like, oh, I'm just continuously rolling up people. It's just hilarious when you get like, oh, I accidentally rolled up a pencil, and now whenever I try to roll, I get this little like blip.
It's a like. Oh, gotcha.
It makes so much sense, but it's just hilarious when you do it. And then there's also like a bit of collecting part, like, oh, you need to unlock all the other cousins, so you can like look different. Oh, I want the one with the football head. I want the one that looks like a princess, etc., etc.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And like, there's also different challenges where, hey, you're trying to make a hot item, and everything in the map has a temperature. So, oh, you're getting like right next to the hot dogs are a bunch of ice cubes. So you're like, okay, I need to get this, but not that.
Oh.
So like different little like fun things about that. Is just so out there and just fun.
Is this not a good game to introduce someone to gaming?
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up too. To be honest,
this looks really
just
fun.
Very straightforward. You roll and
absorb things.
Ball type of exactly.
The controls are a bit weird. You have to use both joysticks.
That's true.
But
that's like, if you're going straight forward, that's fine. But if like, hey, I need to turn counterclockwise, you have to turn them in two different directions.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, it could be, but like, it's also like not multiplayer.
Oh, this one is. This new version is.
Okay, so the new version has like the multiplayer modes from other ones, and it's like battling each other.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, I'm going to get a bigger ball than yours. Or another one is like, oh, you're battling each other in that you're both in the same arena, and you can run around, you can run into the other to knock things off of them. So it's like, yeah, there is some, but it's not like, I don't think it's the same. I want that little king accessory now, though.
Gail's gonna buy this right now.
So would this be your all-time favorite?
Is this your all-time favorite? Katamari Damacy.
It's a clear, like, that's something that will, like, I love this series, so probably this might be, but I'm sure there's other games that I'm forgetting.
It's not Overwatch. Overwatch's not your greatest game of all time.
That's probably my most played. But
this game looks so fun right now. It's looking at the the gameplay.
Yeah.
Or like something fun here is like, oh, you can pick up the you can pick up people and then watch them just like flail around in the ball.
You're just torturing them while they're in the ball.
Exactly. It's just hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, so for now, that is your. If you think of another game, though, let me know. But
And,
right
like,
now,
the other
Miguel's
thing
is
about it is, like,
Katamari.
the absurdity makes it really feel like a game. You know what I mean?
Like,
there's some
yeah.
ultra realistic ones, but like, it's just like there's no like realistic, there's no like purpose. You're just there to have fun. There's no like deep story. You're here to pick up all the random shit and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, that's
like,
what you
don't
want,
really need to
right?
think about, oh, I need to play this when I can understand what's going on, kind of thing. Because I feel like a lot of other really good games, it relies on the story to do that, so you need to think about everything. You can't just hop on and just like fuck around.
This game is just a good time.
Just be fun.
Like, yeah,
it's a good fun time.
Yeah, she's rolling over squirrels now, and then what's happening?
You don't need to think about it, Kyle. Just you don't need to figure out.
Yeah,
what's
don't
happening
think,
here.
don't overthink
just
it.
roll.
And like this, if you randomly saw someone playing this and just like fucking around like this, would you care what's going on? You don't need to catch up to the story. You just hop in and enjoy yourself. Like, oh, that's so stupid. How did they do that? Kind of thing.
This one's called Touch My Katamari. That's the name of this game. Wow. Okay. I see. This is, yeah, that's really what games should be about, where you can just enjoy and just do whatever you want. Have fun. So I have a very different game from this in mind.
Okay.
So my favorite game, I don't think you guys have heard of this one. It's called Transistor.
Oh,
have you heard of this one? This is
same one as Bastion, right? The same.
Yeah,
maker.
so same company
it's a Supergiant.
As Bastion. Yeah, it's a Supergiant game, and I think this is the first game that I played that I don't know why, but I just felt so much emotion and was so enthralled by, first of all, the art style. Like, it has it's like a futuristic, like really cool, like visually like kind of a drawn, like the Bastion, like Supergiant games art style, where it's like 2D, but the shading and the textures and the lighting looks really, really cool. And like, I don't know how to describe it. Kind of, it's still cartoony, but almost surreal in some aspects. And then the music from this game was just mwah at the time. Like, it fit the theme, where the game was very melancholy because you're like trying to save the world from this like robotic infection that's taking over, but at the same time you're trying to find your lost like voice, because your main character is a singer, and at the beginning of the game you see there's like a dead person, and then you find out that's like her long lost lover whose soul is imbued in this sword that's called the Transistor. Anyway, getting into the story.
God, it's deep.
Yeah, it's deep. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I'm really feeling something when I'm playing this game. And so like it's a whole thing. And then the gameplay was pretty innovative at the time, where I thought it was innovative. I've never seen anything like this, where you can plan out your moves and then you can combine all of your move sets as you collect them throughout the game. And that was pretty fun. That was really cool when I played it. And then yeah, it's just a fun game, fun mechanics. It's beautiful to look at, and then the music is just so good. I still have some of the songs from this game in my Spotify, like even now.
Oh, wow.
It's still in my rotation, as I say. And then it's a good game, Transistor. You guys should check it out. That is my favorite game of all time. I think I played this when we were in college, at the time. So that's my most how would I say this? Not picky, but I was like, as a college kid, you're just kind of like, ugh. So I gotta be so critical of things. So when I found a game to be this good at that time, must have been good. But yep, that is my
your all-time favorite. Huh?
All-time favorite game. All-time favorite game. I think I downloaded this game again like a couple weeks ago just to play it again because I just wanted to.
Oh, really?
It's old. This game is so old, yeah, but it's fun still. It still holds up, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, that is my. Look how good it looks.
Try when I have time.
Yeah.
Out on my Steam wish list.
It's usually on sale for like $5 on Steam sales. Highly recommended.
It's just that old.
It's old. It wasn't critically acclaimed at the time. It was lost. It was lost. A hidden gem, as I would say. Many people miss this.
You were there before Hades.
I was there before Hades was the thing. Yeah, Hades took a lot from this game. Just saying. So this is where it started. But yeah, Transistor is the one that I chose for this question. Nice. What about you, Jason? Did anything come to mind? We will be watching more.
I'm gonna be all basic and pick Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay.
It might be recency bias. Yeah, I'm getting like actually hyped about. I don't think I could even touch the game until way.
Did you pre-order? Did you pre-order already?
No. Because I knew that if I pre-ordered, I'd be too tempted to play when I'm too busy and I want to focus on what I have to do. And I'll play later, but yeah, it's just sad that the game's coming out right when I'm about to get busy. But this game, I know there's like some people love it, some people don't. I think it's the amount of freedom that you get in the game that can be sometimes overwhelming for a lot of people. But I thought before I played this game, which was like 3 years ago or whatever. This game came out in 2017, but I didn't really touch this until like way later. Like 2019 at the earliest, I think. And I used to be a much bigger gamer when I was younger, but I thought I forgot how to enjoy a game for the longest time. I think as soon as I got out of college, or even towards the end of college, I like stopped enjoying playing games. Like even the really big titles that would come out, I would get excited about the anticipation of it, not necessarily the gameplay. So I would spend like weeks trying to like imagine myself playing this big game that's coming out that I've been waiting for, and I actually get it and I play it and I get bored in the first like an hour. Right. And then that was really sad. And then this game comes out, so I give this one a try. And it made me realize that it wasn't me, it was the gaming industry's problem. It wasn't me, dude. Like the games themselves are just not good.
Just suck now.
The game just sucked. This game taught me, like it brought back the feelings of exploration, and like the possibilities are endless in this game. What I love about this game is that everything you can imagine, or not everything, but most everything you can imagine, physics-wise, or object to object, or NPC to player interaction-wise, most things that you would imagine would happen with normal logic happens. Like you can do that, and there's so much detail in this game, and the developers of this game thought about every little interaction that the average player might think of. That it's like you can do it. You can do it. And it's not very linear. There's no one way to solve the game. You can, I've done so many dumb things in this game trying to solve a puzzle my way when there was definitely a much easier way to do it.
But it didn't stop you from doing it your way. It just let you do it, right? Yeah.
Like the game never told me, hey, you're doing it the wrong way. Do it the right way. The game never told me anything. Really. Right?
I don't think there's anything that does that anymore. No games do that anymore.
Yeah, which is a good direction, I think. So I chose this because it taught me how to love games again, and I'm truly excited about this new game coming out. I think it's gonna be good. I think.
Man, a game that brings you back to your love of gaming. That That is,
Yeah,
I think
really.
it
'Cause
deserves.
you know how
it really
people say
deserves it.
like, yeah, you know how people say like when you're young, you have all this excitement and you haven't played a bunch of games, like everything's exciting, everything's fun. It brought me back to my youth. I think it made me feel young again. I was like, this is something I can actually play for hours and hours. Yeah, it's a good game. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I recently watched a speed run on this game, and the wacky things that they do to get through this game so fast. It's crazy. Like
it's
so like
wild.
it's physics based. They'll blow themselves up on a bomb and fly across the map and then beat the level. I was like, oh, how did they think of that? Like, it's such a cool,
it's such a cool idea. That they do. Yeah. And one more thing about this game, sorry, is that I feel like when I play a game, I try to reach the end goal as fast as possible, or I try to compare myself to the other players, if that makes sense. So, like a new game comes out, I don't know, like let's say Overwatch or something. Or actually, Overwatch is kind of a bad example because it's an online multiplayer game where there's like a meta, and I feel like there's usually the right way to play a lot of the times. So that's a little bit different.
Speed, it's more fun.
Speed. When I think of like the big AAA, single player RPG games that are coming out, I feel like the game gets kind of figured out the first week or two, if that makes sense. Like the people of the internet do everything and anything and everything possible within the game, and it's all over the internet like the week or two after its release. So then I guess it's maybe my problem that I like go in and look at all that stuff, and I'm like, okay, now that I've looked at all that stuff, there's really nothing for me to do anymore, if that makes sense. But this game, I think it's like some guy on like IGN's YouTube channel or something. They're still posting videos about like 18 new things that you didn't know about Breath of the Wild. Like it's been going on for the past like 2 years, and the video's still coming out, I think, up until the release of the new game.
Wow.
So I mean, like a lot of them are just kind of like glitches or little like lore things that people didn't know about, but still, that's a good testament to how much there is to do in this game, I think.
But yeah. It's like I don't even think everyone has found all the Korok seeds yet. Like those are still missing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's truly endless fun.
Do you think this is a good game to introduce to someone who's never gamed, or a game to introduce to someone?
I thought about it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'd start and be like, okay, what do I do now?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because the game just lets you go do things.
Yeah, because then you like come out of that cave or something at the start, and like it shows you the plateau, and like this dramatic music plays, and and you're like, oh my god, that's so pretty. But then I imagine that person would go like, okay, now what?
Right. What do I do?
So I think like a linear game would serve them better. Like someone that's never played a game before, something more linear. Yeah, yeah. But this game, a masterpiece.
Yes. Wow, that is good. I think. Yeah. What is the last game that I played that really gave me that sense of like awe and childlike wonder? I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm still working on Breath
I
of the Wild.
approach most things in life with so much cynicism now. Just like how we were talking about the movie earlier, horror movies. I can't enjoy a horror movie anymore because I go in there and trying to like nitpick all those little things that I think are unrealistic.
You're just kind of bashing
when
it.
I could just be sitting there and like enjoy the movie, right? And when I get a game, or I guess a good example is the new Harry Potter game that came out recently, right? Like I got the game. It was highly anticipated. I was super excited to play it, and I pick it up and start playing, and it was almost as if I was like finding reasons to like the game as I was playing it, if that makes sense. I was like it felt forced somehow. I was like, oh my god, look at this thing that I've seen in the movie, and it's here. It's like, that's super cool. Right? Or like, oh my god, this new like mechanic that they brought into the game, it's so cool, when it's like really not that cool.
Like you're just trying to really like tell yourself, I like
Yeah,
it. I
because
swear.
I like paid for the game and I've been waiting
Yeah.
for this for so long and all that
Mhm.
stuff, and it's like it's really not that great,
Mhm.
but I'm almost trying to make myself to enjoy it or something.
Mhm.
So, but this game I didn't have to like fake anything. It was just like the way it was so good.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Or yeah, when was the last time you guys felt that way about a game?
About a game, man. That's tough. That is tough. I don't know. The last game that I really thought was really interesting, and that I really okay. It's PS5 was a Sifu. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah.
Sifu,
See,
right?
that is a cool concept. Yeah, that's a cool
But
concept.
it was such a cool game. So like, and it's a very short game because there's like literally only 5 levels. But the thing
Right.
that was really interesting about that game is like you yourself, it makes you feel like a kung fu master as you go through the game because you improve. Like when you first play the game, the mechanics feel kind of wonky, and it took me a while to really understand how to actually play properly. But then as I slowly got better and as I slowly got into it, my flow would start to get in there. I would understand how to dodge and like combine combos. And then I felt in a very accelerated time frame that I was like a kung fu master. Like those kung fu action movies, I felt like I was in one of those. Like when you play fighting games, like other fighting games, right? They're doing all these cool moves, but you're just bashing one button, right? You're just pressing X, 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 and then they're doing all these cool moves, but you're not really.
Right.
It's not because you got better that they executed them. You just did it because you pressed the button. Whereas in this game, you actually feel like you're timing every hit. You're moving your character out of the certain way. So that's why I thought this was such a memorable game because it was so.
Yeah, I can see it.
It was so cool like that. Very fun game. You have PS5, right? You should get this game. It's very fun.
Yeah, I should play this game too. Yeah.
It's probably on sale now because it's old. Not old, but it's an older.
Yeah.
And it's a shorter game.
Yeah.
So, but highly recommend Sifu. But I think that's the last game where I felt some true wonder. I played Jedi Survivor recently, and I feel like there's a Star Wars bias in me, so that's why I didn't want to say the game because the game lets you be like a badass Jedi, but like for someone who's not really into Star Wars, you might be like, oh, that's a cool power, I guess. But like for me, I was like, oh my god, I could lift all the guys up and then crush them. Like, let's go. It's like I got a lightsaber and a blaster, and I can use them at the same time. Oh, amazing! Like that's the Star Wars bias that I will fully admit exists. But for a Star Wars fan, that game is so good. That game is so good. But might be a little bit of a bias there, so I don't want to fully say that's the one. Yeah. What about you, Miguel? Any games that
a game that I really loved
that brought you like childlike wonder recently? Yeah, I would say maybe recently to say something that brought it back out of you.
Yeah, since you like entered or I don't know if you ever felt.
Or did you ever really feel jaded?
Yeah.
See, I don't play a lot of story games, so like I'll play a shit ton of like multiplayer games, and like it's not really jaded about playing with your friends, right? So you can't really get jaded about that. You get tilted at them, of course, but like you go and play with them like a few days later. Like if you're like, it's not like that deep. So I never really got jaded with games, but I just think of like games that are like, oh my god, this is really good. But like most of them are more of the well-known titles. Hades would probably be the last one.
Sure.
And then just like thinking back, like, oh, the games that I felt like, wow, this is insane. I can't believe they did this kind of thing. Like the original Assassin's Creed, I felt like that when it first came out. Now it's just trope that's been done every single time for 7 centuries. It's the Pirates of the Caribbean of or Fast and the Furious of fucking games now.
Oh yeah, Fast and Furious.
Fast and the Furious.
So what other games? Moonlighter. Oh my god, that was so good.
What is Moonlighter? I've never heard of that game.
I think the term's roguelite.
Roguelite?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so the supposed like flow is every night you go into the dungeon, you pick up all the items you want, and then try to escape without dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then during the day, you're a shopkeeper and you're selling all the items you got.
Oh,
from the dungeon.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to make money to upgrade your town, to upgrade your shop. And then there's a lot of like small little things because you're individually pricing the items too. Mm-hmm. So like if you're pricing it too high, you're not going to get sales.
Oh, that's cool.
You're pricing it too low, you're not getting the money there. If you price it like a bit too high or you flood the market, the price goes down. And like there's like people stealing from you or trying to steal from you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all these little things, and then as you're going, you keep on going further into the dungeon because you've gotten enough money to like get yourself a better weapon or something like that, or more armor, and you just keep on going, and like just that gameplay flow was so good.
This looks like a lot of fun. Just keep doing this for hours. It's roguelite, so it's always something new when you go in.
Yeah.
To the dungeon. And for viewers that don't know, roguelite means whenever you go into the level is always changing. So when you go into the dungeon, procedurally generated is what it is. Yes. So every time you go in, you don't know what to expect. So the design of the level or the enemies you have to face may change as you go in. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is our audience anyway? Like, who are these people? Are they gamers or
everybody?
Everybody playing everything.
Everybody.
Everyone.
Everyone.
All inclusive. Okay.
All inclusive. We're all inclusive.
The best game of all time is 100% Destiny 2.
All inclusive. Gosh, Destiny 2 is so boring. I must say.
Oh no, I got the real
that
answer.
game is boring, man.
Jason, it's Artifact.
Oh, Artifact.
Is that the card game that no one played?
Yeah, it's the card game that Valve made that died.
It like took me a few seconds to remember even what that was.
Artifact finally canceled. Oh, this is an interview. Artifact live stream.
Okay, low key though, it was kind of interesting when it first came out.
Oh no, it's a different game.
And then no one.
But I think it was just my wishful thinking because I wanted it to be fun.
Like I want a card game.
That was the time when Hearthstone was getting kind of stale. So I was like, okay, I need something in my life that's like Hearthstone but better. Yeah. Well.
A game that comes to mind from like a long time ago, like when I was like a kid with my cousins playing, was Kirby Air Ride. Have you guys ever played that game? Oh man, that game was amazing. So Kirby Air Ride is a super fun game.
It's a racing game.
It's like a racing game, but also like so it's a Kirby racing game similar to Mario Kart, but the thing is you can customize, like kind of like Mario Kart, where you can customize your air riding device, and you can shoot up power-ups out of it. And there are modes where you race, but there are modes where you also battle. And then there's also this main city hub where you could just ride around and fight enemies. But then the cool thing about it is because you're Kirby, right? You can absorb enemies and she takes their powers. And so you can do that with each of your characters. And that was just like a huge mix of a good time with your friends, family, whatever, whoever you're playing with. Yeah, this game was just so fun back in the day. Yeah.
Never heard, but it looks fun.
Herbie Air Ride, GameCube, old school GameCube game. You can jump off your little car thing and run around the town. And then look at that. You get all these power ups, and then it was a good time. It was a good time.
Very good.
Is that it? Did we cover everything?
And I think we covered our games. Did we have anything else for the program?
We did actually go through all the questions.
I think we did go through all the questions. They're pretty good. Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
4 hours of time too.
4 hours. Dang, that was a long podcast.
That was fun.
You guys want to plug yourselves in any way?
OnlyFans.com/
You should plug your bosses. Was it your boss that has their
your boss?
I'm not revealing where.
Well, check out. Actually, I don't know if I have anything. I have a travel channel with my SO.
Oh yeah. Dude,
SO and Kyle. You guys should check out that YouTube channel if you guys want to see our travel videos that are super outdated and old, but still fun to watch. Check that out. I stream on Twitch sometimes randomly. come watch. But other than that, yeah, thanks for jumping onto our podcast today, and thank you guys for providing your insights into your lives.
Anytime.
I thought you were still talking to the audience for a second.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, are they talking? But yeah, that's the Coming of Age podcast episode 1. Congratulations, guys. We did it.
All right.
We completed the first episode of the COA podcast, and
one of
1 million. We guarantee that to our viewers. 1 million episodes.
1 million episodes
through our lifetime.
1 million.
There may or may not be people out there wanting to listen to this, but we're gonna do 1 million episodes.
We're gonna do 1 million, guaranteed right now. 1 million guaranteed. All right, well, thanks for stopping by, guys, and we'll catch you later.
See ya.
See ya.